What's up, guys? So this episode, we have Jordan and Tyler from CXC Media. This one is pretty fun for us, catching up with some old friends. Jordan and Tyler, Thrace and I all used to work together. We've known each other for a long time. So this one was kind of pretty fun. A little bit more relaxed, had a sense of fun with it. As Jordan and Tyler are in the media, we wanted to cover quite a few things. One of those things was starting, basically how they got started into media, what kind of equipment they used, and what kind of equipment they suggest for you to use. Thrace and Jordan had a good little laugh on something that happened to a Civic. Well, so did Tyler, but something I learned from it, as I haven't seen the car really in years, but they had a good laugh. So definitely take a listen to that and see what happened to that, as it's a very common mistake that happens in cars. And we also cover where they're going to be at this year, what kind of events they're going to do, what kind of stuff they like and don't like. And hopefully you guys will see both of us out there at some events this year, whether it's drifting, drag racing, autocrossing, rally crossing, motorcycle racing, car shows, whatever it might be. Definitely take a look at the episode. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear some feedback. Feel free to follow Jordan and Tyler at CXC Media, at Instagram, CXC Slim and CXC Jojo. I'll definitely put the links in the descriptions in the episode and copy them, and we'll have it also in the Facebook post and whatnot. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a blast for us to record, and hopefully you guys learned something from it. Anyways, take care, enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time. Welcome back to Shifting the Gears. I'm Kiyo.
I'm Trace.
And today we have CXC Media, which is Jordan and Tyler Bright. Jordan, why don't you give us a little background real quick on yourself? How old are you? What do you do for work? Do you have any kids? What kind of car do you drive?
All right. So I'm Jordan. A lot of people call me JoJo. That's what you'll see on like Instagram and everything, and in the watermark on my photos. I've been 28, about to be 29. Saying that out loud sucks.
It's weird, ain't it?
Oh, dude, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Been doing photography for a little over 10 years now, because I started basically senior year of high school. Trace was one of the very first photos I took of cars.
In all of my awkward glory.
Yeah. Fresh off of work, you still had your work shirt on, I'm pretty sure. Kyle was driving his
unawares shit.
That Mitsubishi he had.
Glory days.
Mirage.
The Mirage, yeah, and it was
that.
it was just winter, salty.
I was thinking of the one that we did with Hubert at the car wash next door.
I remember that one. That was so fun.
Yeah.
Hubert and Juan.
Yeah.
I forgot about Juan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I've been doing that for roughly 10 years, on again, off again. Haven't really been able to make it like a living yet, but just been keeping it as like a really fun hobby. Money, no money. I've been loving doing it, and we've recently been Create and Conquer pretty much came together. 2020 was when we made it all right, let's actually like try to do something, and it basically was kind of like our creative playground.
Okay.
In the beginning, we weren't sure what we were trying to do,
especially because everything was shut down. Like we had nothing else to do. You had all these cameras, so it's like might as well.
Yeah. And I'd always kind of wanted to do more than just photo after a while, just because the creative itch kind of keeps you trying to find new stuff to do, new things to try. And so that's when we started doing Full Metal Canvas, which is our documentary series, I guess, if you will. We just like interview drivers.
Like Ross and his awkward ass.
Twice.
Yeah.
Probably 3 times, because
he
your
was better
brother
on the later
figured, I'll just have 3 cars in
Those
3
are some of my
seasons.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally one season after another.
Well, it's funny seeing like between season 1 and season 2, how much like he was a little bit better on camera.
Well, we can also see the difference in your guys' skill too between each interview of him.
Mm-hmm. we got a lot better at I guess trying to ask questions that were engaging to kind of keeping it unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like a big thing with the second episode that featured Ross was it was Ross and Colin,
Yeah.
and they drive together, they build together, they travel together. They're basically an unofficial, they're the unofficial Extreme
Yeah.
Graphics team basically, and they and it was just their dynamic is just
Yeah.
hilarious. I mean, you saw the intro clip of them jumping
Yep.
into each other's arms. But
That
yeah,
shit had me dying when I saw that.
yeah, that reel was one of the better performing ones on Instagram. But before we keep going about Create and Conquer, do you want to introduce yourself?
All right, yeah. So I'm Tyler. You know what I'm saying? I go by Slim.
Is it because you're tall and skinny?
100%. Matter of fact, it was coined by him. He's been calling me that for years, but when it came time to like actually start creating accounts and like kind of create like, I don't want to say the persona, but like the name, it just made sense. It kind of has a ring to it, and of course when you meet me, it's just like it all comes together. As far as photography, like previously mentioned, I started during the pandemic. Just everything was shut down. There was nothing to do but like drive your car, and then he had cameras, so when he was doing it, he was showing me all
One of
his
the 1,000.
work. And like, of course, I've always been paying attention the entire time. But,
He
like,
was really
going through it with
clean,
me,
and he was a super
and, like,
nice
he
guy.
was
His
like,
wife
yo, like it's
came
attainable.
to the office
So I went out
to
one
watch
time.
the sale go down just because
It was
very
alright.
nostalgic for
Like
them
I
to see
didn't
it go.
really.
And
I suffered
felt like I
from
could have
comparing
gotten
my work to his.
even I could
not
have gotten
knowing,
more off. I
not
think
thinking
because
about
even
how
then
much
he was
time
just
and
like
how much work
950 when I
he
said
had already
9.
put
I was
in
like,
to get to where he was at.
I'm like fine, 950.
So then he kind of looked at
and
my
it's a
work
great car.
and pointed out some of the
Virtually
things I wasn't
rust-free,
seeing because of course I was
still
so
has the
inexperienced.
D16
I didn't
in
know
it.
really what I was
There
looking
was
at.
one problem.
So when he pointed it
Once
out, it
that
kind of
we
like
didn't find out
inspired me and
till,
lit a
like,
fire.
after a while.
So then
were
I've been going steady
driving,
since then.
And I'd always
as
felt
far as
like the
work,
seating position was weird, but I
shit,
thought like
right
I
now
was
I'm
just
working
tripping. It's like a smaller car.
at a
The car I had
warehouse
before that was a
running a
Forester.
shipping dock, doing that.
So maybe
at
I was just,
night,
maybe it's just
and then in the
tinier, and I
morning,
just feel
of
like
course,
it's
changing oil
not right.
with the boys.
And then
over there in
my
in
wife,
Homer.
who was my girlfriend at
And
the
then
time,
as far as vehicle I
rode in it with
drive,
me,
I
and
drive a
she's just like,
2022 Kia Forte.
I feel like I'm
GT.
falling
It's a little fun
towards
car.
you. And
That
I'm
thing
like,
looks pretty damn sharp.
I'm
Economic.
like, I don't know what you mean.
I'm
but
telling you,
it's a fun
went-
car to drive.
they went
too.
crazy
Think
with
about it.
that
And then
one,
We're
like,
driving. Me and him
One of
are
the few cars
driving
that has a
somewhere.
6-speed still too.
And he's just like, "Hey, yo, like
Yeah.
your
Has
seats
a
are fucked up."
2020
Like
year
he's like,
on
"I'm
it,
leaning
like,
in this." I was like, "I am leaning in this Civic right
JB4
now."
coming soon.
And you're literally
like
oh, I
facing
forgot to
each
mention,
other.
but I drive
you're kinda
a.
doing-
No, really.
You're leaning like my this. favorite car is the one I And it drove here. turns The one we out drove here in after my going up 99 underneath it, Civic sedan, because I had already by the time we realized this 5-speed done factory my oil 5-speed, pan I'm the twice. second owner.
because
I got that car
fucked up
from
the first one.
bailiff because I work at the Kane County
circuit clerk's office.
and then we had to do
Basically
the
farms.
valve cover
And a
the
bailiff
head, and then I
who-
did
that
was the
gasket.
car that they bought.
So
Basically for
I
their
basically
for their
just
kid
freshened up the
brand new
whole
back in '99 top end of
and
it.
then when he
to
went
get
to
it running
college,
nice,
got a job, bought his own car,
just to find out
that car is
that
really
at some
sad, and it was, like,
point
their little
in
weekend car because it's a little 5-speed.
the
He
car's
enjoyed it.
history, whoever they
He
took it to
wanted-
get work done on it didn't lift it from the lift points. They lifted it from the floor. I told you about this at your son's birthday
Yeah.
party.
Yep.
I would have been so bad if I was that guy.
When you look at it, it's like pushed up and crunched in a little bit, and that's what makes the seats bend in. And I just haven't really had the time with my little one that has gotten here 6 months ago to like go and hammer it out, and it makes me so mad sometimes because I had like plans I want to do. Like I was gonna like for $900 rust free. I was like, yeah. I said, swap it down the line, strip out the interior, simple, fun car, NA build. That's it. And then I'm looking at those floors. I'm like, So then I went out and bought a '01 Grand Cherokee as a daily to have something with space for my son. And it was lifted when I bought it. 2-inch lift, nothing crazy. Newer Grand, like 2013 or something like that. Grand Cherokee wheels on it. They're bigger. They're way bigger. And at first, I thought just the alignment was just kind of bad. You could feel it.
No.
So I take it to a Bell tire that had just opened up on 30. And I take it in for an alignment. And I'm there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Damn.
Haven't heard nothing. And I'm like, what's going on? And I already had a suspicion that there was something wrong with the suspension on this car because it did
It's terrible.
the G rattle, where it kind of shakes when it because it needed rotors, but some things were seized. The brakes hadn't been done. Like when I bought it and I took it for a test drive with the guy, and I'm like, yeah, man, it definitely needs brakes. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I've never done the brakes on it. And he's on it for like 3 years.
God.
I don't even know if he's the one that lifted it or not. But anyway, so I'm at Bell Tire. The service rider who took care of me when I walked in and walks out. He goes, listen, man, I'm sorry it's been so long. He goes, but I'm just gonna keep it real with you. He had the alignment sheet out, and he's like, this is the worst alignment I have ever seen, ever.
Damn.
He's like, no, you do you understand, dude? Ever. Like, me and my guys have been out there. He's like, I can fix your toe, I can fix your camber, the caster. He's like, that's where that's at. He's like, we've done everything we can. He goes, all that banging in there has been us knocking away at your suspension to line it up.
You should have called me. That's what I do for a living.
Dude, it was so bad that once they got it done, because this was my suspicion, whoever lifted it never got an alignment after lifting it.
Probably not.
And then they just wrote on it. Because I don't know if the guy I bought it from was even the one who did it. Because he didn't know nothing about
That shit
So-
settled down.
The most common thing that I see when people lift their own vehicles when they bring it to us at work is they'll put the lift kit on, they'll do a quick toe and go with a tape measure, and then they'll go send it off-roading.
So what is, like, depending on the lift kit, like, what is usually, like, the parts in it? Like, shocks and then, like, what, like, blocks to help raise it up depending on what it is?
For a
Or
budget that most people like to do that we see doing it themselves, it's usually just a spacer kit. So like the front struts, there's a spacer that goes on the top of it. The rear, if it's like a coil spring, it's usually just a spacer that'll go on the top of the coil space or a coil spring. The more expensive kits, you'll get like you could do like a whole coilover conversion to them. Or it's just going to be a whole extended setup.
I'm about to say it's definitely not a coilover setup, that's for sure. It was, and it's still the brakes, because the brakes are like, the rotors are warped.
Mm-hmm.
I myself mangled a bolt to a caliper bracket, so I couldn't get the rotors off.
Solid.
And I can't remember what Avery was just born or about to be born, so it was like go time.
Yeah.
Didn't really have time to be wrenching on it for a few days, so I
Yeah.
just had to put pads on it and just rock with it. So after the alignment,
Yeah, we had to stuff them in there too. They didn't even want to fit.
Yeah, because
we had to like smack them in.
and then don't even get me started on buying and going to any local auto parts store to buy brake parts for Jeep Grand Cherokees, because Mopar and all their wisdom decided that every
Have, like,
trim
3
level
options.
every trim level has 2 different brake options. The
Yep.
dude walks in and he's like, and I'm like, yeah, man, I need brake pads for an 01 Cherokee. And he goes, do you have something or other or Akibono? I'm sitting there like, when he said the Akibono or whatever, I'm like,
Bro, they're brake pads. What do you mean?
I'm like, no, sir, this is a Jeep. Like, I'm thinking Akimono. I'm thinking like this. No, I didn't say Honda. I said Jeep. Like, what are you talking about, Akimono? He goes, nah, dude. There's like different ones. And I'm like, well, how do I know the difference? He goes, I don't know. I'm like,
Bring one in.
I literally I had to bring one in and be like, well, which one looks like these? He goes, you got the Akibono ones. I'm like, awesome. But yeah, I mangled the bolt. Didn't have time to get it out, so that's a project coming up. And so my wife absolutely hates the Jeep. She thinks it's the most dangerous thing in the world. She's just like, I hate it.
She never rode on that Eagle.
She did. She saw the Eagle. She remembers.
She
remembers
trusts the Eagle more than that.
No, she did not trust the Eagle. She didn't know about the Eagle. She didn't know everything about the Eagle because it wasn't
Yeah,
around
no.
too much longer.
She didn't want to know everything about the Eagle.
Because
Yeah.
it only was around for like,
The things we did to that car.
well, y'all remember
the
the
things I did to it
driving-wise.
afterwards.
the strut towers were
Trashed.
gone. Like, it was like rusted out. And there was one time we were cruising downtown on our way to Lakeshore Drive, and I remember on 55 or 355, I can't remember which one we were on. We hit a pot. No, it had to be 290 because it was a really terrible pothole.
Yeah, 290.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
we hit that shit, and I swear to God that both struts just rocketed up through the hood of the car. I didn't want to open my eyes. I was like, no. I'm like, no, this is not how it goes down.
Bro, we could have an episode just on the dumb shit we did cruising and all that.
Man.
And I know
missed
you
them
Oh
you
my
gained a
God.
bunch too.
I hated changing
Yeah.
the control arm in the back of your parking lot at work.
I remember that I sold it to
Yeah.
him, but when I sold it to he hits me up and he's like, "Hey man, like, what are you doing with that Talon?" He's like, "I know you still have it, but I had the Legacy at the time."
Mm.
And Tyler had just got in the car, so the Talon was just sitting, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I said, "It's just like a second car I drive around. Like, I'll sell it to you." The same day he reaches out, though, I pull up to work and the rear control arm like gives out, like the bushing or something just gave out. So now it's stuck at stuck at the office in the back parking lot. And I'm like, hey man, listen, it's still, it like this happened. Like, do you still want it? He's like, yeah, sure. Like, are you sure? Like, it's stuck at my office. Like,
Yeah, I didn't
like,
give a shit.
do you want to get it towed? He goes, nah, I need the car. He's like, it's fine. He's like, I'll meet you. He's like, I'll meet you after work with the money. And he shows up to the office with the money, a bag of tools, and a replacement control arm. And I'm just about to do it right here. He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. I go inside. I let someone know. I said, hey, so my buddy just bought a car off me. I said, but it's broken, because everyone in my office knows I'm the guy with the broken cars. They're loud and they break. Like, every now and then, like, I get dropped off at work and they're just like, or a different car pulls up and they're like, so is it broken? Or no, it's not broken. All right. I just felt like driving the Jeep today. And he fixes in the parking lot. I'm like, if you need confirmation who he is, I said, Jonathan knows him. Pickering. I was like, Jonathan knows him. So, like, I said, so don't, he's not just like some random guy stealing my car. I said, legally it's his now. It's his headache now. And then you sold that to Cody.
Strange.
Yeah.
I traded him a toolbox, and it was like filled with Snap-on tools. So technically, I came up on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I still use those tools.
For sure. Which, by the way, I remember. Well, the cool thing about that car was that it was rebuilt by just some older guy that Kiyo knows. I still don't know how you knew this old guy. We pull up to his house. Kiyo walks in the front door like it's his grandparents' house, and they're just like, "Hey!" And he's just like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Yeah, it's right out here." He had another a bus or something, VW bus, just like halfway through a resto, just sitting in the corner, had stuff on it like he was going at it. And he's like, "Yeah."
He still tinkers on it here and there.
That's cool, man, because he was just like, "Yeah, I rebuilt it like
Yeah,
some
I
time
bought
ago."
that car because I think I was replacing or rebuilding the trans on the Scion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I drove that, fixed the Scion was done, and then I think it was the cam position sensor that it vibrated the bolt loose and it shifted, so it just stopped running. I was on a set of train tracks when it shut off too. So I had to push that bitch off the train tracks, and I had Kyle, I think, come pull me all the way back home, and it just sat, and sold it to Cody. He came up, literally twisted the cam sensor, tightened the bolt down, it fired up, and he fucking ripped a burnout in front of Graham's house, taking it home.
You're like,
I was so mad.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I still think the fact that I somehow managed to get that car to triple digits one time, and I was absolutely terrified.
That's impressive.
Oh,
It
you
took-
actually put digits out that car?
It
I don't know how he did it.
It took like, number one, it was like 6 miles. It was downhill, 88 west. Past
Is the statute of limitations over on this crime?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
This was years ago. Going down 88 west, right when you get past 59, you get over that hill right before Yola, and it's that long, dark stretch. I
Yep.
literally was just all in with like 30-mile-an-hour wind at my back. It like slowly
baby,
creeping.
come on.
And to be honest, it probably really wasn't triple digits because it wasn't GPS speed. It was that terrible speedometer.
Oh,
So it was
for
probably
sure was
more.
off.
It was probably
We're
more
doing like
like
70.
Yeah, like
I never forget Keel's first time driving it. We were stopping somewhere. We went for a little drive somewhere.
I even drove that damn car.
Well, you only didn't drive for long, so we stopped at a gas station, and we were going back to my house because that's where your car was, because we took the Talon for some reason. And he's just like, let me drive it to like back to your house. He's like, I've never driven. I'm like, yeah, sure. So we get like on a little stretch of road with a little bit more open, and he goes into first, builds up, and then slams in the second and third. We're going like 25, 30 miles an hour. He's like, this thing is terrible. He's like, you take this all the way to the city and back. He's like, this thing sucks. I'm like, dude, it's bad. Because when you first buy a Talon, you're looking at it, you're like, I got a 4G63. I got that Mitsubishi power plant, dog. I got that dual cam.
psych.
Boy.
I wish.
Just to find out it was a 420A.
Like, oh my god.
It's because it looked like a 4G from the top.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
From the outside, you'll never know.
Especially when you come from like a single cam car and it's just
Until
dual
you do a
cam. So you
burnout.
burn out, please. That thing is dying.
It was a good car to learn how to drive manual on, just because the clutch was terrible.
Yeah, it'd be a good commuter. That'd be about it.
That's what it was. It was good for that. Like
Yeah.
if I was like strapped on money and I didn't want to drive the Legacy because I had put that VF54 in it, and just took any little bit of like intelligent mode was pointless.
Yeah.
And so I was like, some weeks I was like, I can't burn up all this. I'm not filling up 93 octane this week. Time to bring out the Talon.
$25 for the week. All right.
Oh man, $25 a week was nice. My Civic is like 35 to fill up.
I'm so fucking jealous.
But like it's a
Yeah,
Civic, right? Like I'm used to like a 20 like Civic. You're good. Remember that
It's-
was the time.
Yeah, I'm putting like 60 for a full tank.
I'd be cool with that too.
Of
Yeah, it's
89.
50, 60 something for the Cherokee.
I fill up at a quarter, and at minimum, it's like 85. Diesel life.
Yeah.
But yours makes cool squealy noises.
That
Yeah.
it does.
It does.
A little bit of coal.
Is this live or is this recorded?
Recording.
Okay, cool. Because I was wondering, I'm like, can they see this right now? Like, because if I got, because like that Jeep brake the things about the Jeep brakes. If I got that wrong, I'm gonna get roasted in the comments.
Oh,
Like,
you're
it's not
like
Aki
you're
Bono,
roasting.
you moron.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want on it as long as they make it.
Hey, if it fits, dude, who cares?
You need
Right.
anything for it, hit me up though. That's
Oh,
all
for
we
sure.
work on is Jeeps.
I've been wanting to convert it, like take it back to stock, smaller like stock wheels, smaller wheels, back to lower it again.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, because they lifted it and then just put like a street tire on it. It's like, it's not like they weren't off roading this thing. This thing
Yeah.
was parking lot princess.
We can leave the leveling kit on. We'll get you a nice set of off-road tires.
Yeah, we got some examples.
Make it
outside.
look the part. We
See, but you know what
we
I
can align
hate.
it. We know exactly what it'll take to get it aligned.
But you know what I hate though? I hate the of a.
There's a
of
ton.
There's
I'll get you in a tire that don't do that.
Yeah.
How much money are we talking, dog? I got a son, 2-piece crap cars, and a cat I gotta take care of.
Give me a tire size and I'll check.
Yeah, let me let you know, because it's just like it's a stock Jeep size. I just
What
don't
did
know
you
which
spend on
one's
your
wrong.
wheel and tire package?
2,500. Hold on, that's five.
Oh, but-
That's 5 pairs. That's 5 wheels, 5 tires.
Oh yeah, because you
alignment,
got those
everything.
spare. Yeah.
I got the whole. Everything goes out the door like 2,500.
And he had specific details that he wanted out of it too. So
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't cheap out on it.
Kiyo have very specific details. He's making sure he's putting into the modifications on his vehicle.
Yep.
That doesn't sound.
Yeah, who would have thought?
So if you need a cheap setup, I can find you a cheap setup.
We'll see, because I'm honestly just I just
For
want
the
to.
tire noise, you can't really go cheap on that one just to get them
Yeah.
quiet. But I got 2 tires in mind for you. They're premium tires, 3 peak rated, so they're good in snow and literally anything you put at it.
We'll see what happens with the Cherokee, because I was talking about, like, I just brought up in passing putting tints on it.
I can do that at work too.
My wife was like, "We're not putting any money into this piece of shit." I'm like, "We're not putting money into it. We're just making it more comfortable."
We're
She's just
not
like,
getting a car payment is what we're doing.
she's just like, "If you want to put tins on it, that's on you." She's like, "But if she goes, I don't want us to put any kind of money into things." She hates it now. At first she was like, "It's cool," and then we got the alignment and it improved. We're like, all right, cool. But then the brake rotors like warped a little bit
Once you
And-
fix those and like
because it's got that
It
little.
won't be
that's-
so bad.
Well, it's got that. You haven't ridden it yet, right? You haven't been in the
No.
Cherokee
You said
yet.
what year is it?
It's an 01.
Oh, one. Oh.
It has that death wobble. So
Yeah.
if you're going a certain speed and you
Ball
hit,
joints, tie rods.
yeah, if you hit your brakes too much, if you hit your brakes too fast, it'll.
Mhm.
So
Oh, if it's only on the brakes is doing that, that's 100% your rotors.
yeah, it only happens on the brakes. If I'm
Okay.
at speed, fine. Is if I can slowly just on the brakes, it's fine. But if you gotta like. It happened once when I had my son and my wife in the car. Lauren was like, "I don't like this." She, you know how she is. She was like, "I don't like that." She's like, "I don't." She's and I'm supposed to take that to Grid Life South this year. Drive down to South Carolina. If I don't get the brakes done by then, I'm taking the Civic.
I would take the Civic.
Yeah, 'cause she was like,
I'm gonna
Straight
take it regardless.
Plus better gas mileage.
honestly, because the only reason why I want to take the Jeep is because I'm not getting a hotel. I'm sleeping at the track, so I can
we're
sleep
not
in it.
lay down in the back seat, get a double thick foam mattress.
No, because if
A
I'm
sleep
taking the
pad?
Civic, we're gonna buy a. By the way, I want to send you a new canopy that has like walls, so you can be dry
straight
and
up.
cool. And basically, the plan was always to sleep out of that. And if I have to bring the Civic, we have like camping cots and like camping equipment.
Get
I
off
just
the ground.
just sleep on the cot, out of the wind, out of the.
I say find time just to bring the Jeep to my work. We'll do a full inspection on it, create a list, let you know of everything that's in dire need.
That's gonna be a long list.
If you have to, just leave it somewhere. Light it on fire or leave the doors open. I will report it as missing, and it'll never be found again.
I can make that
And then
happen.
I'll just call the insurance and be like, "Listen, I know I have liability, but it's gone now. All right, don't ask no
It's
questions. Don't ask no questions."
We're not going to be able to air this episode.
I was just playing. Because I do like the Jeep.
Allegedly.
It's just
Yeah, allegedly.
allegedly.
Honestly, I probably got some parts for it sitting at work that has never moved that I can let go for damn near nothing.
We'll see. Because I got to talk. Because with we're in an apartment. She wants we want the house. We wanted to take vacations. We've got all these races we're trying to go to. That media life is
Expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And media. It's a lot harder for a media guy to just like get sponsors to help him get out those places.
Yeah.
Unless you're working for him.
Speaking of events, what was your first camera you used at an event?
At an event,
Was it the T5i?
it was a T3, just a T3.
T3.
Yeah, that was my first. That was my first DSLR camera. Yeah, it was a Christmas gift, in 2012, 2013, while I was in high school, and but event technically for the first 5 years, I was doing mostly like car meets and car shows. Like
Yeah.
Neurotag was back then. It was going on back then. Hot Import Nights was actually half decent back then.
Forgot about that shit.
All the stuff like that. The So Ill, Stay Ill
yeah.
now. Meets and stuff because I was working for Shane for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the first motorsport event was
more so car culture, less of motorsports. Yeah.
yeah. The first motorsport event I ever shot was a Slide Society event in at the Dells Raceway Park
Yeah.
in 2019, and it rained all day,
Damn.
nonstop. But the FD driver Jeff Jones was in town because it was Automotion Weekend in Wisconsin.
Oh shit.
So Jeff Jones was there, and it was crazy because it's like Slide Society is a very local, low key event. I like going to them because they're very easy to get into. You don't need media, just as long as you're not dumb and put yourself in danger. Like they kind of give media a good amount of leeway. And he's there at Dells Raceway Park, just absolutely smoking this place out in that 370Z.
Hell yeah.
And it was amazing. It was my first time seeing an FD car up close. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
Mystified.
Shit.
it was some of the photos from that day of him drifting in the rain were were on my portfolio for a long time. Because he was like drifting through puddles. So even though you didn't get tire smoke, you got like crazy splashing. But the camera I had was a Canon 60D, and it almost didn't survive the day. Like several buttons stopped working by the end of the day.
Is that the one we bought it? We went to look at it like Fry's or something.
Yep, that same one. Took it to hit it in the rain. The delete button still doesn't work to this day. It ended up just one day recovering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I ended up buying a Canon 70. Now that's when I realized like, yeah, this is the camera I need because its autofocus is better, shoots way faster. It's 8 frames per second, so I'm not out there with the mirrorless and 1DX guys at 10, 12, 30 frames a second, but 8 frames a second is enough. Don't let if you're taking pictures of cars, if you don't get it in 8 frames, you aren't going to get it in 10 or 30. That's how I kind of see it. So it's awesome for $300 maybe nowadays.
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of them because
Yeah.
it was a super popular camera.
Definitely the next step for me too, because I'm still currently shooting with a Canon 60D.
Is that
It's my
was
first
that your
and current camera.
First one you used?
Yeah, because actually the first one I ever used because it was after he had already got the 7D.
Okay.
So he gave me the 60D because the 60D was just sitting. And then eventually I went and got my own for like very cheap, like $180 because it was well used. It was missing like a little tab that was supposed to hold like an extra tassel. So like I guess technically it was bad condition, but for me as someone who's not really knowledgeable about it, I'm just does it take pictures? Say less.
For less than
Say
$200
it's gonna be
it's
in your
awesome.
hand 90% of the time, anyways. So.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be dropped. Like I'm clumsy. Like it's gonna be all over the place anyway. So it's like
And shooting motorsport, like your gear gets dirty, especially
Yeah.
drifting.
Yeah.
Especially drifting.
Especially-
Tire chunks.
especially you
dirt.
gotta like get out of the way, or it's a lot of like quick movements where you just kind of gotta like let it fly because you got more important things to worry about than the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely before, like right before the season starts, I'm definitely gonna order a 7D. That's definitely the move to get those 8 frames a second. Cause shooting with the 60D, you definitely run into trouble. Where like if you want to capture like a long corner, specifically at like Grid Life, like shooting Midwest Fest, like that main corner right in front of the grandstand around where the stage is, like. With the 60D, you can't shoot the whole thing unless you do like one every like couple seconds. Because like if you start at the beginning, by the time you get to the middle, the camera's processing, so the pictures just come in slower and slower, and you're just like, no, it's terrible.
It goes
But-
from
Yeah, like
And you're like sitting there, you're like, James Dean and Vaughn getting around the corner right now, please. Like,
yeah,
Someday.
like it's rough,
so,
but
Um,
you can make it work though.
yeah.
so it'd be a good one for an entry camera. Like if you found a good deal on it or something, or is there another one you'd recommend?
Nowadays, I wouldn't recommend it. And the reason why is because now it's starting to get dated.
So if
Its video stuff is not. Super.
Okay.
It's the most basic. It has 1080, 24 frames, 60 frames at 720. That's it. No 4K, no autofocus while filming. It's a crop sensor, older Canon camera, so it's not good in low light. It's manual focus at all times if you're filming. So which is honestly, if you're really trying to get good shots, it's usually better anyway. But if you're trying to do like more vloggy, quick stuff you want to use gimbal work,
Yeah, like run and gun. Yeah.
yeah. So I honestly like the newer versions of like the 70D, 80D, or probably like for cheap DSLRs, the way to go. We just bought a Panasonic G7, which is a completely new brand of camera for us. We bought it strictly for video, and I got it for like $210 with shipping.
damn, that's a steal.
And it has 4K autofocus while in video. It's a little dated even from nowadays. It came out in 2014.
The footage looks so good on it though.
It's just 10 times. It's just a little bit more updated. So for like less than $500, like if you have like $500 to spend, there's a lot of camera you can get for the money nowadays.
So if you had to list a few features, I want you both ends, but if you had to list a few features, key things people should look at in the camera, what are some of the top ones they should be looking at?
So for someone definitely starting out, if you're starting from like zero, I would definitely recommend getting one that has a in-depth screen. Because even though it is fundamental to learn to shoot a camera through an eyepiece and is definitely a skill that you absolutely need, I think starting out, it is easier for someone with zero knowledge to shoot while looking through the screen instead of having to force through the eyepiece, because that kind of takes a little bit of technique, especially if you're starting out shooting motorsports.
Especially if you don't have a mirrorless camera with with basically like
A screen in there.
versus like our cameras, our DSLRs, they have just mirrors,
Like
so
looking
you're not
straight through the
seeing what the
eyepiece.
camera's seeing. You're just kind of getting a general idea of what the camera's pointing at in a way.
So yeah, definitely the screen, and then maybe too, if you want like starting out video, definitely want to get something with autofocus, just because starting out, like you're gonna be like, a lot of people think it's just technical fundamentals with cameras, but like the whole thought process and the idea, like you take a camera out and just start filming, yeah, you could make something, but if you truly want to create something great, like the thought process and all the planning that goes into it, like trying to balance and deal with all of that at the same time, I feel like just getting a camera with autofocus would just kind of take a little step. It's definitely, once again, you want to learn how to shoot with manual focus and just like picking, because you can definitely achieve shots that require manual focus. But yeah, to me, those are the two most important, at least for me, would be a nice screen and then autofocus.
What about you, Jordan?
So for me, I think if you're just getting into it and you want to do photo and you might do video, it's kind of in this day and age, it's kind of almost impossible to not do some kind of video, whether it's content to promote your photography or making that a part of what you offer as a creator. So I'd say if you're not sure, you want something that's versatile, so nothing too expensive. You'd probably want something that can shoot as the basic video and then decent photo. So by basic video, like 1080, 24 frames. 24 frames is like the cinematic frame rate that you kind of want to be at. It's where your motion blur looks the most realistic.
Okay.
It kind of gives off that like most commercials, except for ones they're supposed to be on TV, kind of look that way. A lot of movies are shot in 24 when they're at full speed. So something that shoots in 24 1080. For me personally, I think autofocus isn't necessary for video, because if you want your stuff, it depends on what you want your stuff to look like. If you're gonna be shooting like run and gun vloggy, kind of like less like planned and more run and gun, you want autofocus, because you might have to set it up and just set the camera up and just maybe walk away from it, talk to it. But if you're if you want to do more like videography and filmmaking type stuff, then autofocus is you won't use it anyway because the autofocus will never focus at the speed you want it to. Like if
Okay.
you want to like mend in nicely, you want to do manual focus. On the photo side, honestly, the photo side is probably like, for me, photography has the least amount of spec requirements. I mean, there's a reason why like film photography is still so popular. Like as long as it works and can take a picture, if you really want to shoot motorsport, probably something that's a relatively quick autofocus and frames per second on the shutter.
Yeah.
So like I have a 5D classic. It's like the first Canon 5D series DSLR. It's super old from 2005 and it shoots 3 frames per second. But I use it as like a second camera for like in the pit
Yeah.
Okay.
or I have it on like a wide angle because its autofocus is terrible. But it takes a really nice image because that's when Canon was learning how to do digital. So they are still trying to emulate film stock.
Okay.
So it has kind of like a look to it. But photo is probably like the easiest one as long as you have a camera. Like
You can honestly start off with your phone nowadays.
this is a camera I carry on me a lot.
Phone is more than enough.
Okay.
This is like a Nikon. This is a Nikon Coolpix 4800, which is a gift from my father-in-law. He just had it, wasn't using it. It's from 2000, 2001. It's like a 5, 6, 7, 8 megapixel image, but it's fun to use and kind of take pictures with. And I use it a lot like around my family, and like if I just kind of if I'm like out and about with my
Sporadic.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like in the pocket, and like I don't get fulfillment out of using my phone, but honestly,
That's definitely one of the challenges with creating with a phone.
Mhm.
Is that like you almost, nothing against TikTokers, but you feel like a TikToker when you
Yeah.
use your phone a lot. You know what I mean?
But you can like if you don't have money and all you have is a phone that like your parents pay the bill on, and that's all you got. You could use your phone for
It's a good starting point.
just to
Yeah.
learn the basics. But I'd say the
At
main
least
thing
learn the vision, like figure out
Yeah.
your vision.
so my main thing is for anyone looking for gear, I'd say buy as inexpensive as possible and buy something that's somewhat versatile. Think about what it is you want to do.
Save your money for lenses.
Yeah, lenses are king over cameras.
Yeah, cameras are definitely the lesser priority if you compare like the body and the lens. Like most of it's in the lens.
Okay.
So if you see someone who takes really nice pictures and you go, "Oh, it's a really nice camera," that person's thinking like it's not the camera, it's the lens, because the
I
lens
just
is
don't suck at this.
crap
Like,
lenses.
the
Like
lens is the expensive part.
yeah,
Okay.
like there are levels where your camera itself could be limiting, but the lenses are where it's at. Like a lot of the like I've gone through a couple. I've gone through 3 different Canon cameras, and all the lenses fit, no matter how old the camera is, because they're all the same mount.
That's nice.
And with Canon specifically, they've been making lenses for that specific mount for almost 30 years, because that was a film lens mount as well.
Oh, shit.
Towards the end of it, like I have a film Canon camera that takes all my Canon glass for my digital
You
camoras.
put the 70 to 200 on there.
Yeah, that's how I'll probably take it to one of the Good Life events this year if I can
That'd be
get
a
hands
neat,
on film.
That'd be a neat picture.
They would look.
Mhm.
Oh man, that'd be so cool.
There's if you like really good film photography, you probably. I always forget his name, and I always feel so terrible because if I know you on Instagram, or I either know you by your Instagram handle or your car. His Instagram handle is the more weed smoke I puff. He's a film photographer. He
In
shoots.
Wisconsin.
He's at US Air a lot. He shoots a lot of Club FR, Final About stuff.
Okay.
He's a Puerto Rican dude, bald head, covered in tattoos. They're on his side of his head, they're on his neck, they're on his hands. He only shoots with like rangefinder film cameras. I think he recently bought digital because film is so expensive to buy and then to get processed if you can't do it yourself. So he switched to digital for money saving, but his work is
Gas.
awesome.
So good.
So good.
I like that.
So for getting into photography, if the person has figured out like what camera setup they want to go with, what would be an easy category to start photographing? Because I feel like anything automotive might not be the easiest, especially motorsport side of things.
Mhm.
Trying to get someone drifting and all you see is a blur going around the track, or you might have missed them. Is there any other categories that could help them in a start?
For the basics,
I would
Yeah.
say definitely. Well, this is not everyone's sake, but for accessibility, I would say portraits, shooting
Portraits.
people. Most people, I mean, I don't want to say most people. A lot of people, you have parents, friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just taking the pictures of people is definitely where I grew the most. because of course during COVID there were some grassroots motorsport events going on, but there wasn't really nothing kicking off. So a lot of the time, like I really grew most just taking pictures of him.
Okay.
So that's definitely one you can get started.
I'd say if you wanna shoot cars and you're at the very beginning and you can't get to like a motorsport event and you want to get good at photography, local shows and meets. Like every town, every county, every state has a cars and coffee of some kind. There's a car meet or a car show going on somewhere. Even like just local hot rod guys getting together and talking about and comparing their one of 185 canary yellow Corvettes that they think is worth more,
Yeah.
and people appreciate that because the thing is, you want to shoot cars specifically, is people like getting a picture of their cars taken.
Yeah.
People love it.
Yeah.
Like you could be walking up and there could be a guy who just got back to the car show. He's picking up McDonald's in the show car.
Yeah.
And he gets out and he's got his McDonald's on top of the car. And you walk up and you squat down to take a picture. And he's like, "Oh!" And he like hurries up,
Let me
clean
get
off
out
the
of the
car.
way.
We were shooting a
That's probably the highlight of his day.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. People get out of here. People,
Definitely.
nice, decent people will like stop and like let you take your photo. So like
Mm-hmm.
car shows and car meets are a good way to learn the basics because shooting cars is a different animal because it's like portraiture in a way
Yeah.
because you have like a subject, you want to get their good side. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the lighting and reflections can really affect it. But at the same time, when you are learning like with like reflections, and then you realize, oh, I need a circular polarizer. That's like number one thing you should buy after buying a camera and a lens is if you want to shoot cars because you see reflections, you see yourself in the reflection, everyone walking by, people standing next to it. The glare on the glass is the number one thing that you want to get rid of because it makes, like, especially if people have like dark color tint or it's like blacked out. It looks just like you see the person standing behind you waiting for you to walk by in their windshield because you've got the reflection because you didn't turn the polarizer and get the reflection going. But car shows for sure. And if you want motorsport, honestly, drifting is the easiest, I'd say, to actually shoot for if you're learning because drifting is the most accessible.
Yeah, like rally, like shooting, like stage rally, you have to be already established and on like contract commissioned work.
Same with like off-roading. Off-roading, if you're
Unless
not
you want
like
a spectator to just like crawl out into the forest to where you know where the track is, you know what I mean?
with off-roading, if you're not going out with like buddies on the trails shooting this like their weekend thing, if you want to shoot like off-road events, like we want like a buddy of ours, Chris Sahansky, who we featured in episode 1, he drives a side by side in the Amsoil series, and he wanted us to shoot for him, but we couldn't do it in time because you have to do a little bit more paperwork because we had to basically be his media. Drifting is the most successful, where drifting is one of the only motorsports where you just show up.
Okay.
You show
It's
up.
like
You don't
run.
have,
It's run from within the community. It's like when you get there, all the dudes running it is, you know what I'm saying? It's just some dudes.
and unlike every other motorsport, drifting is one of the more pure spectator motorsports.
Yeah.
Like IMSA cars are sick.
Mm-hmm.
The most amazing machines that hit tarmac, but watching the races is boring because especially if you're there in person, because you only see them. Like thank God IMSA has like 6
seconds.
classes driving at once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you only see them then. Drifting is like made for everyone watching to watch, which means you don't need to be media and be trackside or be in the areas where people with vests are. You could be in the stands with everyone else and and find a good position to get a good shot. We go to the stands sometimes with me. Like you'll see
on
media in the
purpose.
stands on purpose because drifting is made for the spectators to enjoy in a way. And they're, like Tyler said, they're a lot more casual. People
Less paperwork.
drifters probably love getting their picture taken of their cars more than anything, especially if you go to like Drift Indy is some of the that's probably the friendliest group.
Oh yeah.
They see you drive by and they're sitting in their car waiting at stage, or they're just sitting in it and they see you taking a picture, everyone waves, smiles.
Or if they're on track currently mid drift, they'll flip you the bird.
Yeah.
I have countless pictures with the bird
Oh, I bet.
fully
Salute.
out. I love it.
But yeah, drifting is actually, and catching the blur actually, depending on what you're doing, a lot of blur sometimes kind of sells an image. Because like if you're like at like a hairpin, a hairpin is one of the slowest sequences in a drift course because they got to kind of slow down and then kind of get it around that corner. But if you have it looking crazy blurry and like the only thing in focus is like maybe the driver's helmet or the wheel or the headlight, it's enough to see what's drifting. It makes it look like he's absolutely flying around that hairpin.
Blazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the next I'd say is rallycross. Because rallycross is kind of the same, where it's almost like a skate rink. You know, people just
Yeah.
pull up in anything. Very first rallycross event I went to for the SCCA rallycross.
Like
They
pick up basketball, but for racing.
literally
That's
they
awesome.
do it at Byron Motorsport Park up in
Yeah.
Byron.
Is that SCCA Milwaukee?
And yeah,
Yeah.
and you show up. I showed up. All of my cars were broken, and I was driving my dad's Chevy Malibu up there. He let me borrow it to go up because it's only like an hour away. And I get there, and there's just like some 50, 60-year-old dude with like a, I don't remember if he was driving a STI or just like a Volvo or something, but he was just like in like a pretty regular car. He sees me get out in the Chevy Malibu with a discolored bumper because it used to be my mom's, and she misaligned the front end is how we'll put it. A couple times. So it's miscolored. The hood isn't unpainted, starting to rust. The bumper's
Bumper
different colors. So
cars.
I pull up and he's just like, nice, man. This thing will do great out there in the dirt. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm not driving this. I'm just here to take pictures.
Camera.
Front wheel drive V6.
You just gotta. The only thing
He'll
about
take it.
rallycross is that you do have to kind of show them you know what they're doing, because the SCCA is really strict with their events. And even though rallycross, like the ones at Byron, are very casual, they take their safety pretty seriously. So like, you got to kind of show them you know what you're doing. They prefer if you have a spotter, someone who's not taking pictures. We've been there enough where they give us the leeway where if we just promise to not both be looking into the camera and not paying attention, like we kind of like take turns in a way. Because I mean, it's on dirt. People lose control and go take a corner wide. You're in your Mazda Speed 3 or whatever. What's that little tiny thing?
Like a Miata.
It's like a little Mazda
no,
green.
it's like the little egg. It's like the
Oh,
little
like the
hatch.
Mazda 2
Oh,
and 3.
yeah.
something like that. So on an undisclosed day at an undisclosed location
Allegedly.
that may or may not have happened at an SCCA
Thank you,
event,
Tyler.
allegedly one of these things flipped, and it was the second flip of the day. And a rallycross at the most amateur level is like a skate rink. Like you just go around the cones in the dirt.
Like, that's unheard
Maybe
of.
there's some whipples for you to kind of like, you know,
I know
some.
what we're doing with the green car.
They had to change the rules
Damn.
of this undisclosed event organizer because that car's wheelbase was shorter than its height. So now they had to do a rule where if
It's
you
bound to happen.
it was bound to happen because he takes the corner and hits like a little rivet in the corner, so it kind of like whoops,
Yeah,
flipped it right
because
over.
it was later in the day, so the track was like rutted.
Damn.
And it was the second one of the day. The first one was a Mini Cooper, and the guy driving it wasn't his; it was his buddy's. We were parked kind of near the porta potties, and we see the Mini
man,
Cooper
that was
flip.
hilarious.
A dude comes out of the porta potty and straight up he goes, "Oh, yo, someone flipped." We're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What car is it? I can't see
It
from
was
here."
a
I'm
Mini
like,
Cooper.
"It was like a Mini Cooper." And he goes, "What kind of Mini? Which Mini Cooper?"
Oh, God.
And I'm like, "A little gray one, stock wheels, yeah, gray tints. Looks like it was like the number, I don't know, like the number 7 car." And he goes,
That's my fucking
goes,
car.
"That's my car." My buddy was driving for a lap. Oh my God. And he kind of like gets into a position on like a hill where you can see, and he goes, "Oh man." He goes down.
It's like 15 people out there like rocking
trying
it,
to
trying to push it back
down
over.
He goes running towards it. You see the guy who's like got his helmet on, still just staring at it. He sees his buddy, and the dude just kind of goes. But yeah, motorsport is, but yeah, motorsport is pretty. It's got you see some moments out there
I like
trackside
that.
for sure.
Is there a category that you will not shoot again?
Wedding, anything wedding related.
Yeah,
Weddings are
I think you
a
called it
nightmare.
when we
Yes.
talked about this before.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much anything that's not cars. I don't particularly enjoy unless it's like for someone like I know. For example, like I shot Trace's son's first birthday party, and that was fun because I knew half the people there already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hadn't seen you in years before this anyway, so it was halfway just seeing you again after so much time. So it was like when it's like I'm doing something for like friends and family, give the homie a discount and just
And
show up and hang out.
The way presented it to him was like, hey, if you happen to bring a camera with, I'm not opposed to pictures, but I want you to hang out as much as possible and not make it feel like work.
And it was
yeah,
fun.
don't like clock in when you get here.
Yeah. And I still did. I still clocked in when I got there because I
Got to.
like taking pictures.
Mhm.
I didn't need the money. and plus, like, if I'm going to take pictures, I want them to be good. Like, I want to take,
Yeah.
especially for something like that.
I forgot I paid you for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the last time I shot a wedding was one of our homies. His parents renewed their vows after like 25, almost 30 years of
weddings
marriage.
are so picky though. Like they need everything perfect, and it's still not perfect.
They can. That's why like I'll only do it for people who are super
Yeah.
close, because like I've been doing photography for so long.
Mhm.
Our homie's mom, our Aunt Becky, she was just like, yeah, like do what you gotta do. And she had her moments where she was just like, make sure you get this, get that, get that. You know, certain people, weddings are very important because you know there's
Yeah.
always elderly people.
It's a reunion.
Yeah, you never know if that's gonna be the last time an elderly person's present. So
Mhm.
you kind of you take it seriously and you kind of understand. So like,
Yeah.
but I'll only do it for friends and family. Other than that, if we're talking like anything else outside of that, I don't like shooting drag racing. Drag racing is
It's fair.
if it's got to be like a theme. Like there's one at Great Lakes Dragaway in June that's going to be like gassers and 1960s hot rod-esque type builds and like rat rods. That's something different. That's something cool. That's a vibe.
See a bunch of unique cars.
But like I can't just pull up to like a drag strip on like a test and tune day and just knock it out because it's just the same. Same reason why I fell out of love with drag racing in my early car life, because eventually I was just like, I like driving more.
Mhm.
And
It's
photography,
cool to see them go as fast as they do, but
yeah,
it's
watching is better than
Drag
shooting.
racing, that's more about the build and the
Mhm.
engineering and less of the actual finished product.
Yeah,
That's a good way to state it.
Like that's like the what do I want to say? That's like the spectacle of it. It's like,
Yeah.
how do they juice these cars to do
I get more
this?
hyped about it. Like if I have a buddy competing in,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
no.
they're doing like a tournament or whatever. Like then I'm cool. I can do that.
Or if you see like a
Yeah.
really good race, like I watched a pass this woman in a K series Civic. She now holds the world record for fastest going in a Civic with like a K
Is it
swap.
that green one? Or like off
It's like blue. It's like blue with a pink roll cage.
Okay. Hey, bud. Amazon, buddy.
We went. She went 198 miles an hour
insane.
in a Civic on a big turbo K series, and
That's
like
hauling ass.
see stuff like that is cool, but it's cooler to watch. Part of the reason why, and like as a photographer, the reason why I don't love drag racing is because I like to make the driver look like super skilled. That's why, like, even if you spin out, like, I'll try to get a photo halfway through the spin. Looks like you're just ripping.
Like full lock.
Just full lock ripping, because, you know, it's kind of like skateboarding where, like, sometimes you don't have to land the trick for the shot to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why sometimes photographers, like, if for skateboard mags, the guy will land the trick, but the photographer asks me to do it again just so we can get a good frame of him attempting.
Mhm.
That bothers the skateboarder because the skateboarder will know now that's not a...
Not
I
completed.
didn't complete that.
Yeah.
But I know I did it during that day. It's
Mhm.
just not that one in the picture. But with drag racing, driver skill doesn't translate well to photos.
Yeah.
Drifting and wheel-to-wheel racing and, like, you know, road racing, you catch them slamming the apex, three-wheel lifting, you know, you can get them panning on a straightaway, make them like they're absolute flying.
Like
The only-
dudes 3 wide going into a corner, like wheel to wheel racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
with
feel
drag...
like the only drag racing one would be if they're in wheelie. That'd be about it.
Yeah.
wheelie, you-
Airborne.
Yeah.
or squirrel, you kind of catch in the photo them squirreling, but like
Mhm.
with a photo, you don't really know, like, did they make
Yeah.
that? If they're getting squirrely, if it's a wheel, like the wheelie, like you
Yeah.
said, is really the only show of driver skill in through photography.
And even then, you
Yeah.
still don't know the outcome of it, because if you catch them like halfway up into the wheelie, you don't know if they
Right.
just completely went all the way back or not,
Yeah.
With-
or if they flipped afterwards.
With drifting, it doesn't matter
Right.
as much. With drifting, it's like you look sick going sideways.
Mhm.
I am not gonna name. I would never dime anybody out, but there are people who posted our photos before, where I know for a fact, like, you didn't, like, yeah, you didn't make that. You didn't make that one, like, because I know the sequence. I had spent like 7 hours staring at these pictures,
Yeah.
so you know, you look at them and you're like, and I just know from looking, I'm like, oh yeah, you posted, like, and he might not know that either. He just knows he got me looking sick. I'm like, yeah, you spun out. You were spinning in that one.
But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call you out on it.
I've got a really
Or
cool
like
picture.
catching them pulling out of a spin out too. You get a lot
Yeah.
of good photos that way.
Yeah.
There's a guy, we went to a event in Iowa at Hawkeye Downs Speedway, and it was a silver Corvette that spun out. And where he spun out, because it's a speedway, there's like a stage in the center where media can stand on.
Yeah.
So we're kind of above him. It's a shot in my portfolio, but the way he spun, it created a perfect circle, and then he left out, and I caught him on the way out of the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the perfect circle in my elevated position, it looks sick. It looks like a
Yeah.
commercial photo like donut thing.
Yeah.
Like on
But-
a crane. Yeah.
But it's, in actuality, he spun and he's recovering from a spin. But it looks sick.
Yeah.
And recovering from a spin, or looking like you're recovering from a spin,
Mm-hmm.
translates well in drifting through photography.
Yeah.
And, drag racing is just kind of like, you appreciate the builds, like he said. You
Mhm.
appreciate the engineering and the build behind it, and you don't really get to appreciate. You only appreciate the driver's skill when you're
Yeah.
watching it and you're seeing it happen.
I like that. Plus, I think like for me, dragsters, it's harder for me. I find drifting and circuit cars with their liveries and the designs, you can point out a car and go, "That's Ben Thorne.
Yeah.
That's XYZ. That's that's someone." You can pick out. Ben Thorne's the only one that pops out because
Yeah.
that damn Valvoline livery he had for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that. That like dragsters.
They're better
It's
to see
different.
through like video instead
Yeah.
of
And in
Videos are
person.
great. I like the
Yeah.
videos.
Like 1320 videos. Like,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, like you
'Cause
said,
you
though,
can
about.
see the speed off of it.
Well, and
Yeah.
then like what Kiyo mentioned about recognizing them is
Mhm.
like, like 1320 videos. Like, if it wasn't one of those OG guys, like everyone knows who Beater Bomb is.
Yep.
You know what I
Love
mean?
that.
Like, so like if you're not like some kind of renown as like a drag racer or even a street
Mhm.
racer, you're like, you know how many black or red Chevelles
Yeah.
we've seen on the internet make a 10-second pass, and
How
that's not anything
how many
against the
white
Or
Chevelle.
Fox
any
bodies.
color Corvette.
Yeah, or any color fox body, like he
Yeah.
said. Nowadays, like Texas 2K, I saw has like a bunch of coyotes there,
Mm-hmm.
as they should. But it's
Coyotes
just different
and
same thing, different color.
C7s.
Yeah.
C7s are deep at Texas 2K.
Or GTRs.
Yeah.
half of them all look
Any
the same.
version of them.
Did you hear that after 2025, the GTR is discontinuing?
Not a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than becoming a hybrid.
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's been 20 years.
The
They're gonna
Camaro-
make
Most
it
things don't
EV.
last that
Camaro's
long.
doing the same thing too. Again.
See, I don't hate EVs.
Isn't it
I just wish-
turbocharged inline six? The other
Is it-
option of the Challenger, the EV Challenger.
I don't know. There's the Charger
It's-
and the Challenger are supposed to be discontinued as well
Nope,
within the
they're
next
not.
upcoming
They're
years.
bringing
EV
they're making an EV.
They're making
version.
an EV Challenger, but they're making a combustible option. I think I don't know if it's a
It's an
V6 or an
twin-
inline.
So they're
it's
gonna do
inline
the
six
same
twin
thing-
turbo hybrid.
Yeah,
They're doing the same thing that Ford did. So Ford released their Mach E so they can up in
For the publicity, it's really just to shut
it's
you
for
up.
gas mileage. If they didn't
Mhm.
make the EV, they'd have to cancel the Mustang altogether. So they created the EV for average fuel economy out of it. Therefore, they can make
Keep
the
making
1,000
Mustangs.
horsepower dark horse.
yeah.
That
And-
thing's so sick, by the way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. That's and like I don't dislike EVs. I'm not one of those guys that's just like combustible engines forever. It would be nice, but it's just not the way things are gonna go. I just wish instead of just slapping EV tech in existing models, which I know is to kind of ease certain people into it,
yeah.
but there's a part of me that's like, I wish this
To
was.
make some new cars.
Well, I'm waiting for it to be like a renaissance. Like
Mhm.
every generation of automotive history kind of has like that renaissance where things really build up.
If
and
they all
that's-
look like Cybertrucks, though, I'm gonna be so upset.
Right. Like I want like an
Yeah.
EV to be like that's an EV and like it's never existed as anything
Well, like
else.
Toyota did it well with Prius.
Yeah.
It started off with like a half, like it was just a hybrid
Mhm.
where you still had your gas motor and it kicked over into the hybrid.
I think hybrid's going to be the way for a long time. I think more
Mhm.
hybrids because
There's not enough chargers. The infrastructure for charging EVs is
And it's more expensive
area.
to build those cars too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In
Way
7
more.
years, I will be less harmful in my diesel than any EV vehicle will be.
Well, then the I guess don't quote me on I don't have the numbers or anything, but like I guess like the carbon footprint of manufacturing the batteries is just as bad as the
Yeah.
lifetime of driving.
So a
certain
whole
things.
lot of conflict minerals in them cars.
You have to get it was some fuck ton of years out of it before it's even beneficial just from making one of the batteries. So even
Yeah.
like all the diesels in the world
Well,
don't equate to what they use to
Well, and the main
get the
problem,
minerals.
Also waste too. When the batteries go
Yeah.
out, it's time to replace them. Like, what do you do with all of that?
Where
You
you
can't
gonna take 'em?
recycle it.
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure like,
There's no money in recycling it, so they're not gonna figure out how to recycle it yet.
well, like in passenger vehicles and like cars with combustible engines make up like a very, very minuscule amount of
Mhm.
like the damage that combustible engines does on our ozone and global warming and all that. Most of that is from global shipping
Mhm.
and shipping, freighting, and
Private
ships,
jets flying across the country to go get McDonald's.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of things, but for example, like the biggest I think emitter of all this stuff is like cargo ships and like shipping,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but the
Or
world,
like the large cat equipment.
and then remember, like
Yeah.
every time a shipping container goes down
Mm-hmm.
and all that product is gone, it like affects people, like countries' economies, way like
Yeah.
that stuff. Like, so you
Porsche
get
losing an entire ship full of
so
Porsches.
yeah,
Or
so
like that canal situation.
cars are the
Yeah.
easy target.
Oh, yeah.
Cars are the easy target because you could sit there and buy an electric car and be like, look, I'm helping.
Yeah.
It's like, but if we all have electric cars and all the ships are still running on diesel
Mhm.
and stuff like that, you're just like, what are we doing here?
Are we though?
Yeah,
How do we feel about the EV semi trucks?
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that works in the transportation and shipping industry, I definitely know, like, I don't know a single trucker that's like excited for the EV trucks, but I think it would definitely be better overall just for like the environment, just because
I feel
they
like
really be on the
a
road.
lot of truckers are gonna hate the wait time to charge up for it though.
100%.
I can only imagine how long
They'll be
it'll
good
take.
for local. That'd
Yeah.
be good for
Yeah.
local.
Yeah, like fleet,
Yeah.
like FedEx,
Where it sits every night.
UPS,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that guy that's got to go
Cross
Hub-
country.
cross
hub to
country,
hub.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the infrastructure for EVs has got to get a lot better
And
first.
time is
before
money,
that.
and they're not gonna be for that.
No, no, they're not.
And that's why cars are the easy target because that time is
Mhm.
money, and people are like, could we
automotive
just
industry is a
pretend we're
quick
fixing
target.
it by getting rid of combustible engines
Right.
and then ignore the other bigger problems? But
Yeah. So, real quick, just keep rolling through a couple more questions I had for you
Yeah.
guys. Damn, I'm hungry again.
Facts.
So obviously you guys do a lot of events. You have a lot of events planned for the year. How do you guys prepare for events, and what's your mind or like your state before you get into an event, and how do you prepare yourselves essentially? Outside of getting to the event, but like
so it kind of depends on the event.
you know that was gonna be his answer, right?
Wait a second.
That's everyone's answer.
Besides getting to the event, I was like,
Show up.
Yeah, so the main thing is because we kind of have like a structure now to what we're trying to shoot. We don't just show up and kind of just get whatever we can anymore. So it really depends. If we have a full metal canvas feature shoot, especially if it's an interview, usually we've already like a month or so in advance have prepped some questions. We probably have already seen the person drive, talk to them before, follow them on Instagram. We kind of know a little bit about their story or their season, so we kind of have like very pointed questions to ask, try to make it very personal and very unique. We don't want everything to just seem like a build breakdown-esque video. But the main thing, really getting there, is honestly the most prep, because as long as our batteries are charged, memory cards wiped, gear's clean, you get out, you just kind of just do it. Sometimes we don't have stuff to shoot, so maybe make more of a behind the scenes video, or just
Yeah.
if we're at a local event, we know we're not getting an interview or anything crazy, just get reps in.
Mhm.
But getting there is, as much as generic as that is, like, until you can make somewhat of a living off it, like, that's the main thing you're trying to get to.
Mhm.
When you get to the track, you get like, I don't know about you guys, but like when you play sports and like before game time, no matter how prepared you are, those butterflies kind of hit you. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's time. And you kind of wait for that first moment for those butterflies to go away. For a lot of people, like if you play football, it's like once that kickoff starts or that first tackle, that first hit, contact happens, and you're like, okay.
I feel like it almost never goes away though. You could be doing it for 20 years.
It
and
could-
you
yeah.
still feel
Yeah.
like-
It comes, it'll go away. You, like if you do photography, that 1st good photo.
I feel like that's how you know the passion's still there.
Yeah. Because you're, as a photographer, your first, like, depending on what you're shooting, your first like 10 to 50 photos are gonna be trash. You might not ever use them because like you kind of, some people just got to get into a rhythm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like I'm one of those people.
Yeah, same. I feel like if getting ready for races, I feel like since like Jordan said, we have such a rhythm now, at least with the way we handle events. I feel like the biggest thing to focus on now is everything outside of the actual photography, videography, and the creating the videos. So like securing, like maybe lodging where we're sleeping, also
your
too like
logistics and-
food, yeah, like all the other stuff. So like we'll go to the gas station and we'll literally get like a case of protein cookies and just have like 3 a piece, just like eat those all day. And then hopefully, depending on the size of track or event we're going to, you know what I'm saying, hopefully the concession stand isn't terrible. Also figuring out like where the track's located, because sometimes you go to a track and it's pretty local to like a small metropolitan area, and then sometimes you're in the sticks, middle of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I feel like JLD is kind of that.
Yeah,
For
Yeah.
decent food, you gotta
like
make
the-
quite a drive.
yeah, like the run to the gas station's like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like Kill Care.
Yeah.
Kill Care is awesome.
oh,
Kill Care
the
pizza,
yes.
The little pizzas they serve at the concession stand at Kill Care
heard
is
those are
so
good.
good.
So good.
So good.
It's one track I want to go to.
Autobahn Country Club has like, it's a country club that's got a full concession stand with like wraps and
And they
sandwiches.
are taxing.
Taxing. It's like going to a movie theater.
So bring your own damn food.
Bring your
Yeah.
big wallet when you go up in there.
I feel
'Cause
like
it's-
most tracks are like that. It's just tourist attraction.
Yeah,
Well, it-
100%.
See, with Autobahn Country
respect the
Club,
hustle.
it's a Autobahn. It's a country club. So
Yeah.
like rich guys just drive their little
It's like open wheels.
drive their Miatas around town or their
Yeah.
Porsches, and they just bop around. They've got like actual properties and condos,
Mhm.
so it's really up there because they know that the people who are always there aren't complaining about a
Yeah.
$15 sandwich.
That's fair. So when you're taking photos or videos, like what kind of things are you looking for as far as like how to being able to get good photos or good videos? What are some things when you get to the event, your first things you're looking for? Like,
So for me, I've been shooting for so long that the process of taking an image is second nature. So I think about what I'm capturing. So if we have like a feature, I'm really trying to take like more photojournalistic type photos, tell maybe a little bit of a story of my image, try to get a lot of people in the pit. If I'm shooting cars, like at a Grid Life event, like as many cars in the frame, if it's GLTC or drifting. We try to really spread it out too, because
Yeah.
since we kind of represent ourselves as a team, it's all kind of one content pool that in terms of how the public sees it and how they ingest it. So we like to try to get coverage. Like we're not always standing. You very rarely see us standing in the same spot. Like maybe one of us is in the pit, someone's trackside. If we're both trackside, we're usually in different corners.
Opposite, yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of like pass each other on the way. Like at Great Life events, we usually just meet up at Ross's trailer and we just hang out there.
Yeah.
Because usually like if you don't have a trailer, you have to park kind of far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, depending on where you're at, you get graced with immediate parking.
Yeah, but if not, especially at like Gingerman, if you get there late, you're in the far end of it over
Well-
by Spectator Hill.
And you Spectator Hill actually you can't really if you're parking like you can't really park unless you bring your car up there real quick.
Yeah.
Like so if you're like in media parking, we're parked by the west exit
Okay.
where like some of the other trailers are. And like it's like adjacent to the car show by the lake if you're at
Yeah.
Gingerman. And it's a hike if you got to get to Spectator Hill, man. If you don't have
Yeah.
like a bike or someone's going that way on a
Mhm.
go
that is
kart,
that's a distance.
you get your steps in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get your
yeah.
steps in at shooting
That's
racing.
for sure.
The only thing worse is Mid Ohio sports car course.
I
Now
don't-
that is a
I'm not
hike.
familiar with it.
Oh
Yeah,
man, it's a
middle.
hike.
Yeah, Mid Ohio is a hike.
It's an amazing track to shoot. It's
Yeah.
storied
Absolutely
ground.
lovely. The elevation change is
hills,
just amazing.
turns. NASCAR Xfinity Series still races there on some of their lower series.
Oh, nice.
IndyCar used to be there. I think F1 has been there in the past. IMSA races there. So it's a really fun track, but it's just a lot of walking. And because it's very
Yeah.
hilly, you do a lot of like walking is like that too. And you hurt your
Definitely
feet.
get your workout.
That's why thank God Grid Life lets like media at certain tracks. You're allowed to drive your car around the property and go in areas where people can't. So like at Mid Ohio Sports Car Course, there's like a back gate to get to the back, basically the back nine of their property and get to the back side of the track. And really, unless it's a certain event, because there are picnic tables over there where they have that open, most times that gate is closed. But media is allowed to pop the gate open and drive their car all the way around because you'd miss half of whatever you're trying to shoot if you had to walk.
That's nice.
I got lost once walking there
Where
because
the hell am I?
I went around. So if you're at Mid Ohio, the car drives part is like right here. We brought his car.
Mhm.
He was in a different part of the track. He was at a different hill. If you're at Mid Ohio, there's like a really long straight to a hairpin,
Yeah.
and it's like a quarter mile from the parking lot. The top of the apex. So I had to walk all the way to where he was to walk around the track this way to get to the backside of the track, because I like to get people coming down.
Yeah.
It's called Madness. It's turn 4, 5, and 6 at Mid Ohio, and they call it Madness because it's like where the hill goes up, hairpin down.
Damn.
And I'd like to get the downhill, especially when it's drifting and grip drift and drift taxi, right?
See
for
some
grid life events.
three-wheel action sometimes.
Yeah. And the trail, like the forest comes up to the track at one point.
Okay.
And you can't walk along the wall because there's like ditches and stuff. So there's like a trail that goes into the forest.
Timeout. You want to walk into a damn forest?
It was so close to the track, and there's a trail there that goes behind the bleachers. So I'm thinking, okay, you just go around the side.
You see where I'm going with this, Tyler?
He just walked off.
Now, I normally would not have been in a hurry, but we were shooting the Eric Catil feature, the Civic Sedan GLTC car, and I was trying to hurry up and get trackside, and this walk is taking too long, and there's a hill, so I'm where I can see where the bottom of turn 6 is, the bottom of the hill, and I know that I got to get straight up there, but the trail goes all the way, keeps going down to the forest and comes back on the other side, and I hear the parade lap is over, and you hear all these engines in the distance. And I'm like, oh, they coming. So I had to go. I just said, fuck it. I went straight up the hill through tall grass, bushes, fallen trees, and logs. Like, so I'm crawling over shit with my camera gear. I have a camera on I have a monopod on the camera on a lens, and I'm using that to pull myself up. I get to the top of that hill and just like pop out the bushes. The staff, the Grid Life staff photographers and videographers, so Creature, Matt Marco, and CSR Photo, I think his name is Chris. They all work. There are 3 guys that work for Grid Life. They were already up there because they were smart. They took a fucking car. I pop out the bushes covered in burrs and sweaty, and I kind of like stumble out, and I'm like, I look up. As I look up, they're all turning around like, where the fuck did you come from? And I'm like, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? And I just act like nothing's wrong. I'm just in there. By the time I got up that hill, I am getting phone calls from Tyler. And he's going, hey, man, did you see Eric come around? And I'm like, I just got here, Slim. I don't want to talk about it. Why? What's up? He's like, he didn't come back.
Lap 2.
I didn't see him on lap 2. And I pop open the live stream, and in the live stream, it's in the video. If you watch the episode, it's in the episode where they just go, oh, we got smoke coming from Eric Catil's car. And I'm like, I hiked up that goddamn hill for nothing. If you look, that's one of the only episodes that only has like 4 trackside shots.
Because I noticed that when I watched it.
And they're all his.
That was it.
That was all you?
Any other trackside shots were old.
I spazzed. That little moment I got, because I was standing right after. So the way Mid Ohio, when they do the rolling start, it's on like the front straight after it comes up. It's like a long, like, outcrop, I want to say, that goes out to like up a hill, like down to where you come in and enter the track, at least for that event. And then they come down a long straight, and then that's when they start. So I was standing on the side of that long straight, and it goes into like a rolling right hand turn. So I got them like going through the fence, and like the messed up thing is I felt like I heard something weird, like he shifted weird, because the thing that ended up happening, I think he ended up money shifting. I think he money shifted either in the first or in the second. I think I think he came out of second gear in the 2-3, and it went back into 1. I think that's what he said. Don't quote me, but
yeah, he money shifted, and so
that one pass though,
and he
amazing.
He tried his damnedest to fix it again. Another competitor who runs K Series engines had a spare engine, but he told me, he's like, I can't promise you it's great. He's like, but it's a spare I just had laying around just in case. He gives it to him. He spends all night swapping it. Dynos it. Gets ready. Goes for a hot lap during practice session. Spins a bearing.
Damn.
So we didn't get... we were not trackside. That was before we even got there. Before we got there that morning, because he was up all night and woke up early as hell to get in the first practice lap he could. So we weren't even there. So half of the trackside and like action photos of his car are actually old because he's been in that sedan for 2 seasons. That was his one. That was the second season, and he flipped, and that car got flipped.
What? Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the trailer.
Him and his
Oh,
they were driving back from Coda, Grid Life at Coda last year,
Damn.
and the truck ended up off the road into a ditch and flipped upside down. And if it wasn't for the cage, its roof would have caved in. But if you look at if you were looking at his car last year, you'd see the ripples from him like basically hammering it back out just so he could race the rest of the season. He's like the comeback kid.
And still was in contention for pole position.
Yeah,
with a bunch of Corvettes.
He lives in Ohio, so it'd probably be pretty hard to interview him, but he'd be a good interview.
I heard about that story on 1010s.
Yeah. Because he had
they were saying how it was a hell of a night. Like Adam Jabay got called. Like they were calling anybody in the area that, are you at the track? You here? Can somebody get like?
Yeah. He also had.
Could you imagine? Just
I'm
sitting
pretty
on
sure the
side
truck
of the road,
got
like,
totaled too.
Yep.
I don't think the pickup truck made it.
That was his second accident too,
I think he
with
got
involving
totaled.
his race car, because he had a EG hatch before. That was his GLTC car, and I guess I don't know if he had brake failure or what at Road America, and he basically spun out and slammed into the wall and totaled it. The drivetrain out of that Civic ended up in the sedan. Basically, well, what survived?
Yeah.
He's like the comeback kid, and like
Damn.
so
I hope he has a good season this year.
Yeah, shout out to
Right, for
him.
real.
and he's a top 5 competitor.
Yeah.
Literally at Grid Life Mid Ohio, that where he blew his engine, he was one of only 2 non-Corvette chassis in the top 5. The other one was the guy who sold him an engine. I forget his name right now, but he drives the K-tuned TSX.
Okay.
They were the only 2 who were in the top 10 or in the top 5 non-Corvettes. 1, 2, 3, like C6s or C5s or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're tuned down because GLTC is all about horsepower weight ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Corvette's got a
But they sound
detune.
so mean.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
a detune to be legal because they have so much more horsepower for being so light.
Yep.
And he was competitive in a 4-door Civic because it's modeled after like the JTCC cars of like the 90s.
Yeah.
It's like his jam.
So it's like lowered. And it looks
18s,
super clean.
tubs.
Damn.
It's so nice. He just put a carbon fiber roof in it to replace the crumpled one. He's been going crazy. I think it's so nice.
I'd love to put a carbon fiber roof on something.
Oh my god!
Right?
just-
Yeah.
It looked like a pain in the butt though, man. Like he had glue it, clamps, all that crap, and then
Mhm.
everything. It looked like a pain. Like I don't have the patience. My carbon fiber hood would look fucked up because it'd be all
Same.
wobbly and not quite
First
fully
time you're out in
aligned.
Ribbon.
First time you're out in the rain, you see that drip coming through the headliner. Like, oh,
Shit.
God.
It's like it's a race car. Doesn't matter. It's a race car. Doesn't matter.
I'd probably just blow the damn thing on fire at that point.
Nah, 'cause the car, you gotta cut the carbon fiber off and sell it to somebody. You gotta get your money back somehow. Insurance won't cover it. It's a 99 Civic. They only have liability.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a good point.
Get a solid $5 out of it.
$5 and a 6-pack
Depending on who you get it
of
to.
water.
Yeah.
Depending on who you sell it to. You got a buddy. Your buddy gave you a
Natty.
6-pack of Natty
Six
Light.
pack of natty.
Look at that old man.
Oh, this dude. Let me tell you something. Jonathan is the worst coworker ever. One time, this is like, I'd been there for like a year, and like people kind of knew I knew him already. And he's such a jerk. He's a mean person at work. And he looks at me, and he's giving me crap. I'm giving him crap. And I'm like, I look at the person we're talking to, and I'm like, these are the kind of people that I surround myself with, that I'm dumb enough to call my friends. And he goes, whoa. First of all, we're not friends. I'm like, wow.
Damn.
I pulled up on him the other day because he's got that GS or whatever. I pull up and it's super clean, and I look and I see the trunk is like, the trim above the plate is cracked and got tape on it. I'm like, this thing just got out the shop. I'm like, what's this going on? So I'm leaving the office, and I see him pulling up in his. I pull up. I wait till I'm good next to him before I put my windows down. I'm already staring at him when the window goes down. I'm like, and he looks at me, and he's like, what the hell do you want? I'm like, first of all, hello to you too, jerk. I'm like, what happened? He's like, to what? I'm like, the trunk. And his whole demeanor changed. He was like, the fucking 25-year-old plastic just gave out. And I'm like, it just gave out. He goes, just cracked. He goes, and guess how easy it is to find one of those in black? I'm like, very. He goes, yeah, very. So he was pissed. It was like, it must have happened like the day before because it was still fresh. And I was like, oh. Hit a mark with that one.
Really get him to make fun of his headlights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugly ass chrome things. He hates them.
Black housing the other way.
I'm like, hey, nice headlights. Nice and chrome.
That's all chrome.
Why is everything chrome?
I was going home from work. It was like a week after he bought the thing. It was a week after he brought it to me so I could balance his wheels that weren't balanced. And I was driving down 25 and I see headlights, like the little angel halos on the headlights and whatever. I'm like, okay, something modified is coming. Passing them. I'm like, ugly ass headlights. So I called John. I'm like, I think it just passed you. He goes, why do you think it's me? I go, because you're the only one with those ugly ass headlights on your car.
When he got that thing and he first brought it to work, I get to the office and I see it sitting in the parking lot and I'm like, it's pretty clean. Got the meshies on it. I'm like, never heard of that brand before. I'm not like an anti-fake wheel guy, but I was just like, I've never heard of. Oh, who the hell what wheel this is? And I'm looking, I'm like, but they got good taste. It's tinted, it's clean, nice. And for days, I was like watching that car, like, I wonder who drives it. I wonder who drives it. Never once occurred to me that it was his, because he's literally we had a bunch of new people. I'm like, oh, one of these new people got.
Okay.
I'm like, one of these new people got some taste. And then one day, I'm getting to the office, and he is also getting to the office, and I see him get out, and I'm like,
damn it.
I was mad. I was actually,
known.
I was furious. I was like, I should have known. I pull up on him fast as shit. And I'm like, I knew it. I said, I've been watching to see who owns this piece of junk for a week. I said, I should have known. You are the only person who would have this that works here. I said, because no one else who's worked here who likes cars likes big body Lexuses. I said, you're the only old man I know. And he goes, okay, first of all, fuck you. And second of all, it's pretty goddamn nice. He's like, it's pretty much all original, baby. And it was nice. It was sick. It was sick.
It's a clean car. I like it.
Yep.
What are your 3 favorite events you guys are excited for?
This year?
Yes.
Yeah.
You go, Slim.
Midwest Fest, Grid Life Midwest Fest, of course. Gingerman, music festival lineup's getting pretty insane. The event's starting to gain more traction outside of the hardcore motorsports community. So that's gonna be big. It's a swing. It's the way they rearranged the Grid Life schedule. Mid Ohio now is in the same month as Midwest Fest. They're both in June. So that's going to be a tough one, but Mid Ohio, as far as track wise, is my favorite event of the year. So that one as well. And then I think, is it No Star Bash is Drift Indy's biggest event?
Or you want to go to a No Star Bash this year?
Or whatever. One of either they're Matsuri, one of Drift Indy's like showcase events.
I think it's No Star Bash.
Yeah,
It's like top 2. There's another one that's pretty big.
They have Rio, but no, not Rio Bash. Rio Bash is something else. They have there's No Star Bash. They have the Halloween Bash. They also have Street League. Drift Indy Street League is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun. Like, I love to on Facebook, the Drift Indy Facebook group. Edgar, the guy that runs it, and all the staff. When it comes to Street League applications, they're ruthless, and I love it. They put out like posts, and they'll be like, some of you guys are so lucky that we don't actually we don't talk about or give you actual critiques on the audacity of you guys applying for Street League. Like, not only are some of you guys just learning, but your cars are terrible. Like, that's the thing. Street League is like, your car has to be clean. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's got to be clean. It's got to look good. Because if it looks good, that means you drive good. And so they're like, how dare some of them? Sometimes they're just like, yo, listen, like, I told you guys, don't waste my time looking at this application. If you've never been to one of our events, we've never seen you before, we don't know you, you've never driven, you have no tape.
Yeah.
Like, you have no content of you actually shredding, and like some people's cars, they're just like, I can't believe you would even try to get it.
I'm excited. I got a buddy that goes to those. He's got a white R33. He
Ooh.
just repainted
Chris.
it white.
Chris
Yeah.
Morton.
Yup.
That's
Yeah.
You see
the
the
That
roof?
thing,
The
that thing is
roof,
beautiful.
Oh my god.
I mean, if we end up getting to a drifting event, I'd love to do a feature on him, get a picture
Mhm.
of it before he inevitably rips the bumper off.
Trans that's in the 240, I bought that from him.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, that thing is so nice. I loved it when it was purple. When it was just straight purple.
Oh yeah, that looks so good.
So
I don't know. This white is pretty hot though.
it is. What the roof makes it. It
Yeah.
reminds me of I forgot his name. He goes by Beloni or something like that on Instagram, but he also drives. He drives in drifting. He drives like an E46.
Mm.
I think he just totaled it or bashed in the rear end, but it was like red with like the similar kind of like
Yeah.
lowrider candy paint flake kind of design in the roof.
Oof.
Oh, it's so nice. I love it when things like just cross over
Yeah.
because we've been shooting more lowrider stuff lately. That's something we're
Yeah,
excited for.
Lowrider car shows. Yeah, definitely on that list as well.
there's
I
a
want
local one.
lowrider so bad.
There's a
I think
local
they're amazing machines.
Yeah,
there's a
I never
local
rode
car
one.
show
The
on
attention to
31
detail.
in August or September. In August there's a lowrider show hosted by Rollers Only
Where?
by the Harbor Freight and Carson Scott on Lake Street
Oh,
by the
yeah,
North
yeah.
Star
Yeah.
big
Yep.
signage, all that. It's going to
Over
be
there
there.
by
Just there.
Baba's.
Yeah, so we're going to go that. Lowrider content's been fun because regular car shows I just can't do. It's too boring, too many people. Like
I
the
bet
cool,
you half of them are going to be Puerto Rican too.
well, the cool thing about lowriders is that the lowriders, they had like it's such a cultural. It's one
Mhm.
of the few motorsports that has like a specific culture it's tied to, like Chicano culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people not only just show up with, like these amazing builds with so much detail, but they show up dressed out in like
Yeah.
knee-high socks.
Boy, I would say the socks be up
Dickies,
there.
the Nike Cortezes, they got the
Yup.
buckets, and they got their mustaches. The ladies got the bandanas, and their
Yup.
makeup is done up.
Everybody in there tatted.
Like the culture of it, like you taking pictures of the people participating is just as wonderful as the cars. So some of the events I'm super excited for, there's that. Midwest Fest is always a big one just because it's always so much fun. You see so many people there. If we don't go to Mid Ohio, the event that's going on that weekend is that drag race with like the gassers and stuff. That's one I'm kind of excited for. And then I've got a bunch of local events, like more local, like Grid Life Road America, Elite Tuner.
Yeah.
That Chris Hill is hosting
Now
at
that
the
it's
King County
Yeah.
at the King County Fairgrounds Fairgrounds Cougar Stadium. And I'm more excited for a lot of these more local ones because now that I've got a son, like
Yeah.
I've already
Slide
exposed him to
society.
cars a lot in his 6 months of being alive. Like his
Starting his addiction now.
the first ever car he ever was in my Civic, which had its little shitty exhaust on it, so he's used to
Yeah.
loud cars. And when he was a newborn, 1320 videos could put him to sleep.
Solid.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's awesome.
So
Like
for me, like Dustin, he's terrified of anything with an exhaust. Anything loud that could be loud, terrified of it.
things might change up when he gets older.
Blake sat in Ross's pink car in the garage while he was revving it too. It giggled the entire time. He loved it.
He likes looking at he likes watching like drifting because all the
Mhm.
bright cut cars, same with like rally and like hill climb
Yeah.
because hill climb cars are crazy silhouettes.
hmm
So I've been just really excited for the local ones because my wife and my son get to come to a lot of those.
Yeah.
Because just the reality is like traveling out of state is less feasible
rough.
this year
Yeah.
between all the money we spent buying our apartment, getting married, doing all of that, having a kid and all that. It's been a lot. So I try to keep some more local. So that'll be fun. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
What about you, Thrace? What are a few of the ones you're excited for?
Probably the DDCS series. I'd like to try and make it to Rio Bash. I feel I've been wanting to go to that one for a while. I just
Yeah.
think it looks fun.
Just love the cars at Rio Bash. Club
And
FR, but
honestly,
good shit.
anything at Killcare, any one of the events that they put on there. Ross has
Yeah.
been to it a couple of times, and it just looks fun. If distance wasn't a worry, I'd definitely say Hyperfest. That one was
Yeah.
fun.
Hyperfest, I would love to go to, but I've heard like a lot of nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, like Hyperfest, it was way bigger than they thought.
Yeah.
They knew it was going to be popular, but I guess the staff and the people running it were not ready. There were people, I guess, who day one, you spent hours at the entrance in your car
Mhm.
waiting to get let in because they were not ready for the influx of people. and everyone got there on time, like
Yeah.
for the first time ever in human history. I'd like to go to Hyperfest because they have so much. They have Rallycross, the drifting,
They
you
got the
know,
TDI
burnout.
races.
Yeah,
My mom was there. She said that there's like an overpass that goes right over the track.
that's so
And
cool.
she was standing there watching this group of cars come past. She's like, all right, let's see what's going on with this one. And it was a bunch of little TDIs, like your Jettas, your Bugs,
Yeah,
literally anything with a little diesel motor in it. And she said they got right under her and they gassed it. And then there's just a bunch of little clouds of black smoke that all came out and were released at once. And
rolling
she's
that
like,
coal, baby.
worst smell I've ever experienced. Never going to watch that one again.
That's amazing.
Grid Life is always probably my favorite, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. You're still going on about your events. My bad.
No, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. No, Good Life is a fun one. It's
It's
just,
variety.
If it
I would love
if
to
it
get
was
out
more
to the
affordable.
DDS series.
yeah, I mainly like going for the drifting, but there's not really a whole lot of drifting that happens.
It's going
In
on.
comparison to
Yeah.
everything else.
There-
Just
it's-
thank God
they're
they started
adding more,
playing
though.
HPDE on Sunday.
The last time I went to a Grid Life was when Ross was still on the VQ blue car
Oh, okay.
with nitrous, and he was always having an issues. He maybe took it onto the track. He took it out like 3 different times, and I think he drifted one corner out of all runs.
And that's
Yeah,
the thing.
Grid Life is specifically rough on drift cars.
Yeah, because
Well, he was
they
having
run the
an
hot
issue
laps.
with we couldn't figure out if it was we didn't know what wiring issue he had going on, so I ended up calling Jackie. She was at home. It was like maybe 8 or 9 at night, and I'm like, hey, we need the ECU out of my car. I need you to run over to the shop, grab it, have Mike tune it, throw Ross's tune on it, and then drive it out here. So that was from Elgin all the way up into Michigan. And she's like, do I have to? And I'm like, I can try and ask Heidi. Heidi was already occupied with something. And she's
Right.
like, yeah, I guess I'll do it. She showed up at like 1:30 in the morning with the ECU in hand, still didn't fix
Shout
the
out
car.
to Heidi.
So I ended up running with,
Heidi has saved Ross's track day a few times.
yeah, I think I ran
In more
I
than
was
one
with,
way.
I was with Royce and we went to a local junkyard to go find him a fuse box. After I walked around the entire Grid Life pits, I talked to anyone that had some form of Nissan. I talked to Forsberg. I'm like, hey, do you have a spare fuse box? Nobody had one. We
Well-
finally took off. Royce and I were chasing snakes through this fucking junkyard before we finally found it. Was like an '05 Altima, like what Kyle used to have.
Yeah.
Took the fuse box out of that. Same one as for a G and a Z.
Yeah, because the thing about Grid Life drifting is that it's a lot of hot laps, especially at Midwest Fest. It's a hot lap, so if anything goes wrong with your car, you need a set of tires. Something goes bad, you spring a leak, something goes wrong.
Yep.
You're not going to get back out there for that session. There's
Nope.
just no way. You might. Some guys have been able to I've seen Ross pull off like quick
30-minute
changes.
sessions. So they're quick sessions
Yeah.
too.
They've been making up for it a little bit, like he said. They've been stopping HPDE from going during most of the weekend. It's like a Sunday thing because HPDE used to take up so much time.
Yeah.
And then they're also doing more festivals. Before there's only like
Yeah.
1 or 2 or 3 festivals. Now there's like a whole festival series in of itself. So there's more drifting in general. Grip
Yeah.
drift and drift taxi is where it's at though. When
There was
the
one
grip
track-
cars out there with drift cars.
One of the Grid
Yeah.
Life tracks, they kind of just mixed the drifters in with the other classes too. I saw.
Yeah.
They do that every festival.
Do they?
They call it grip drift and drift
Okay, yeah.
taxi.
Drift taxi.
Because
yeah.
drift taxi, basically, that's when if you've got a helmet and the driver's willing and has got a seat, you can
Load your
sit in.
tarp and go.
Yeah,
like
and it
ride
doesn't matter
along
if
time.
it's a grip driver. Like you see people
Yeah.
fill out Honda Fits, 4 or 5 people in a Honda
Yeah.
Fit,
The
while like
emphasis is to ride along.
trying to keep up with Forrest Wang around turn 3. Like it's the funniest thing ever. I've seen like FD spec BMWs just like absolutely mobbing that straight and manging into that turn, pulling up right behind like Honda Civics and
Yeah.
Mazda Miatas, just taking their corner. It is the coolest. It's the cool. That's some of the coolest photos.
Or
Like
the
I,
way Forsberg's team swaps all them people in and out of that
Yeah.
Bro, it's a
car
pit stop.
every
It's a
yeah.
dead-ass pit stop.
Like they're like he like in like one drift taxi he can give like 20 ride alongs. Like
What in that? What that was a Maxima or Ultima or whatever it
yeah,
was.
he calls it the Ultimaniac or something
Yeah,
like that.
he
Yeah.
had
So sick.
he had displays, his speedometer display, in all 4 seats.
That's
so
so
you could
sick.
see what was going on the entire time.
just knowing you're going in full lock at like 90 miles an hour.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, grip drift is like what it looks like. Is what Forza Horizon feels like. When people say like
Yeah.
grid life is the closest thing you get to Forza Horizon, it's because of Drift Taxi. It really is, because that's the only time where like it's like pure
Chaos.
motorsport chaos. There's
Yeah.
no classes. There's no, the only people you don't see out there really during grip drift are the GLTC guys, and that's
Yeah.
because half of them are trying to like rebuild something or get
yeah, they're
ready.
fixing.
That
That-
wheel to wheel racing is rough on them chassis, man.
Mhm.
That are a couple of guys fucking off driving the fits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the fits
yeah.
are
I
all
think
the fits
those
are awesome.
funny. I love watching those go around.
The
They have-
fits and
they have the
the
most fun.
Mazda 2s
They be wide
out
open
there.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
They say that they go through a guy who I think he's part of the staff for Grid Life. He drives a red fit, and he says that though that certain tracks like Mid Ohio on those low horsepower, little tiny wheelbases,
Tank of
Just-
gas.
no, it destroys tires and brake pads. Like they are just
I can see it.
going through them.
I can see the brake pads for sure.
Yeah.
Especially those tires. They're what, 195s?
And these guys are having the most fun.
Yeah.
The most fun. Because they don't have to really do nothing. Tires and brakes, cool it down.
And they can drive that to go get food afterwards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You see like a drifter, or like a GLTC or time attack guy, like
that
have to run
350Z
somewhere,
with that big ass body kit, that nasty aero kit on it.
and you got to like drive that down the street to get gas. And you're just like,
Yeah.
you hear them like going through on that dog box on the first gear. It's
Mhm.
like, and you're just like, man, good luck. Good luck. Have fun going down. There's a pothole on 4th Street. Be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
They still didn't fix that damn hole.
And I don't know if there's actually a pothole on 4th Street. I just made that up.
I know there's one right outside. I think it was West Entrance.
Probably.
Like 100 feet
Yeah.
down. I watched a slam Civic hit it and just wrecked the entire front of the car.
If you want to have a good time at Midwest Fest, I don't. As an adult, I can't recommend it per se, but there are some fun roads out in South Haven in the outskirts, like by the campsites and in the forest.
Yeah.
Gravel-
On the way to a junkyard.
Gravel-
You'll find a lot of them.
The gravel roads.
Yeah.
We took his forte, and we took turns like hitting corners and like doing and like doing kick turns, like
Making
K
a whole
turns in the
bunch of
dirt.
ruckus, kicking up a whole bunch of dirt. It's
Out
so
in the
much
back
fun.
behind like blueberry fields.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna cruise up to Midwest Fest this year. I'm taking the Civic. He'll take his Forte.
Solid.
Yeah,
Say one can stay at the campsite and one can be the runner.
exactly. Maybe
That's-
hit out. Maybe go out on the track for a couple hot.
Wait,
laps.
are we camping at Midwest Fest or are we eating a hotel?
You know what? I was actually gonna ask. It's funny. That's actually on the list of things I wanted to talk to you about today because
You're welcome.
the Airbnb situation in small towns where racetracks are is not good.
All right, so
No.
my
Well,
mind,
hotels are
Hotels
expensive,
are so
too.
expensive.
My
And the good
mind-
ones close to
my
the track.
mind's telling me camping. No, my mind's telling me hotel.
But your wallet's
Just 'cause
telling you
it's-
can't.
Yeah, but my wallet's telling me
Mhm.
camp.
Well, because one thing we don't want to do is Grid Life 2021 Midwest Fest. We did not have camp enough. We didn't have enough stuff to camp in at the time because a lot of it was like destroyed from our last camping trip. We did not have a canopy to cover ourselves up with,
Yeah, that shit gets
Everything was
rough.
also booked.
and every hotel within 2 hours was booked because we didn't know
And if it
we were
lands on
even,
like one of them hot weekends, that's even worse too.
Well, and we
Yeah, they
didn't
jacked
know
the
if we were
prices up.
because we didn't know if we were even going to make it to
Yeah.
Midwest Fest, so we didn't know if we were going to have the access to even
Mhm.
bother booking. So by the time we knew, because back in the day, like Grid Life's process for signing up for media has been like
Mhm.
there have been easier years and like more difficult, pain in the butt years, and this was one of those tough ones where like you only had a certain window to do it, and because of how busy it was, they were letting you know like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
And
That was a tight frame.
That's a
okay.
tight frame.
The first time I went with like Ross and Hubert and like that whole group, I think it was like 2016, 2017, somewhere around there, and
Mhm.
it was hot, like real hot.
In 2021, dude.
Most of
drove-
our time was spent in our cars with the AC blasted.
Yeah, it was baking.
Yeah.
No clouds.
Well, and the other thing we had to do is because we didn't have a hotel, we didn't have anything to camp, we didn't have an Airbnb. We drove from Aurora to South Haven, down and back,
4 days.
Oh.
Thursday through
God.
Sunday.
I would have just found like the next town over and got a hotel.
I would slept at the damn Walmart parking lot.
You want the only
We were in
thing
his
that
Forte.
kinda
That's
made
why
it
we
make
couldn't sleep in the
sense.
car. It was
I
a
had
pain in the ass.
literally just bought it May 31st of 2022. So I
It was
had
like
to
it's a
get
maiden
them.
voyage.
I had to get them 600-mile break-in period just because it's turbocharged. So we just knocked it out after like a day and a half of going back and forth to Grid
Those
Life.
are some long days.
Good.
though.
Oh.
Thursday, we're like, you know,
Oh, yeah,
'cause
we was up like
we're
16
s-
hours. It
we're
was
pretty we're
terrible.
pretty seasoned with road trips, so we're like, you know, for day one down and back, you're
I'd
like,
say after
you're like,
that,
that's
you're
not,
pretty seasoned. Yeah.
you're like that's not too bad. Like 4 hours there, 4 hours back. You take turns. We figured if you split each trip in half,
yeah.
you're only driving for 2 hours at a time. You know, 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're on your feet all day. And then Friday's the first race day. Thursday's
Mhm.
setup day. That's usually where we try to get our interviews in, get some stuff with people, like
Yeah.
get our feature, maybe
Get all
like
the
getting their stuff
detail
done.
shots in.
Yeah, of the car.
Stationary.
Saturday, you're going off of pure energy because Saturday's the biggest day. That's where most of the music festival happens. That's where most of the that's where the hardest driving happens. Like Thursday's the big day for Grid Life
The
Midwest Fest.
longest hours.
The longest hours. And then you drive back and you get home and you're like,
Do I really want to go back for Sunday?
but you want to because you're like, I love going to this shit. So then Sunday we wake up, we drag ass out of the house. We drag ass
Well,
in
that
there.
knowing it's like a half day there too, because most of everything's already ripped down.
Yeah, we didn't stay all
All
day.
the big boots in the paddock are
Mhm.
gone.
We were talking to Kelleen. Kelleen is the media head of media for Grid Life. So if you like apply for media, she's the one reviewing your portfolio, or
Yeah.
she's the one or your application. She's the one basically deciding if you get in or not. And we were talking to her and a couple other people on the staff, and we're just like, yeah, you know, it's Saturday morning. We're like, yeah, it's just been a really long weekend. Like, oh yeah, no, it's real hot. It's been, you know, this and that. And like, yeah, and you know, we keep getting thrown off by the time skip every time we go through the time zone. Like, oh yeah, because we've been driving there and back, driving back to Chicago every day. And they're like, what? Like, yeah, I said we just got in from Chicago. She was like, you were here yesterday. You were here for the media meeting on Friday. Mm-hmm. We had just gotten there because we were driving. We had just missed it.
Damn.
We had just missed a media meeting, and luckily we had been shooting enough Grid Life events where like we know the drill.
Yeah.
So she kind of did us a solid, and we're just like, all right, you've been here before, you know the rules. Please show up to future meetings. Don't do this again.
Don't be stupid.
Don't be dumb. Her big thing is don't be a dummy.
yeah.
Don't die. Don't be a dummy. Don't die. And and I was like, we are never, ever. I was never doing that again. Could do it again if I had to, but never would. I'd rather sleep. I'd sleep in my car before I did that.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't because I'm almost 30 and that's not gonna fly. Sleep in the car.
Yeah.
doesn't
Last time
fly.
I was there, I slept in the
Yeah.
damn car. It was
the
that
back's
rainy
not gonna
already.
like that.
Yeah, when it's wet and rainy and you gotta sit in the car amongst your stuff, all your gear's soaking wet. You're just like, but you gotta get out there because you know at turn 4 there's a little bit of a puddle and the drift session's coming up soon. And you're like, all right, well,
Have to go do it.
dry enough.
Let me double check this rubber band on the plastic bag on my lens and let's go hit it.
Our tip for all media people out there: when you shoot outside, you spend a lot of time outside. Weather, hot, cold, rainy, it doesn't matter. New socks. Bring extra pairs of socks.
Hashtag new socks.
If you only have 2 pairs, save that last pair until you are done for the day. We
The
were
way
driving
home.
home.
Honestly, that could go for anyone in automotive.
And
Going to
nothing-
a track.
Even spectators like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing makes you feel better than a dry
Dry-
pair of socks.
dry
when you're
socks
shaking
and
wet.
dry
Fresh
draws.
socks.
Yeah,
Oh,
dry
yeah.
underwear, dry socks, and a dry t-shirt,
Yeah.
or at least a dry hoodie over the wet t-shirt.
and you're golden.
We've had to drive home from like
Or a dry hoodie
Just
naked
soaking wet.
underneath. Just a dry
Yeah.
hoodie on.
because it's better than being in that wet t-shirt. We've been soaking wet.
Yeah, soggy drive home.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that was a pretty good one. I'm
Mhm.
getting a little tired, so I want to take my ass home. I'm gonna go to bed.
Are you still living in that same spot?
Cresto.
Yeah. Well, last time I was at your house.
Oh yeah, the one you told. Oh yeah, that's fun stuff. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I think the last time I
Yeah,
was there,
we're gonna have to have like 8 episodes to get through everything.
Yeah.
we didn't even touch on our driving history
Nope.
back in the days, man.
That's-
Or just the history of how we know each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a legit episode on its own.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was telling
Man, I missed them cruising days so much, man.
Dude,
Dude,
Judas,
that
bro.
That was the cool man.
dude.
Hey,
I-
I work in the city. Let me know when you roll through next.
Hey, yo, I'm always in the street Saturday night.
Dude,
I still cruise all the time, reliving the glory days.
dude, those
solo.
days used to go so crazy. I have so many stories. I still have stories that like I'll tell we'll tell our mom, our dad, my mother-in-law, my wife, and I swear to God that they knew this story. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're going 100 miles an hour, almost died. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, I could have sworn I told you about this. They're like, no. What the fuck? Like, oh man, like Jake, Shouts out to Juice Box.
Yeah.
Dude, he's fucking crewing on a IndyCar team, which is so
Yep.
cool.
Damn.
Man's
He's a refueler. Yeah,
That's
it's the
awesome.
coolest thing. He just gets up with the pipe. It's the coolest. It's so cool. Like we
Spilling
watch.
shit.
I'll watch
Watching him.
I'll watch IndyCar highlights just to look for the Ray Hall team, and I look
Look
in
for
the
the pit
pit,
poking out.
just the biggest dude on the team, just
That's
copping
funny.
over that K rail with I'm like, I'll be like, baby, there he is. But he used to get lost because he's from Indiana and does not know
Oh,
the
man.
city, and he would think like, oh, maybe with this exit I can hop off and then hop back on, and I'll continue down. And you're like, no. Like, that's Fullerton. Like, that's a park. You're going to have to stop and wait and go around. And there's not really, you have to go back around on the Cross Lake Shore to get back around. Then one time we're driving. This is a good story. This will be my last story for the thing about those days to give people an idea of what our days were like back then. Montrose Harbor was one of our favorite spots to stop. Great view of the city. If you know Montrose Harbor, you can see basically the entire skyline and Navy Pier from there. We're heading up Lake Shore, and some of us had
remember this?
radios to communicate because we've pretty much perfected our system for cruising.
Oh yeah.
And we get off of 55. Oh no, we come out. No, we took A290. Come out from underneath from Lower Wacker onto Lakeshore Drive. I've got my girlfriend in the car, same girlfriend who's now my wife, Lauren. Tyler is driving the Talon. I was in the Legacy.
Pushing that bitch.
Dude, the check engine light used to flash if you went above 80. I
Hey, it
remember
was
that.
me and John, our
Yeah.
unofficial third team member.
And shouts out to John because we have a team of 3 now. John helps a lot of like editing and stuff.
Hell
So now
yeah.
that I have a son, like I can't just knock out edits every night anymore. But anyway, we're driving and I look around and I see everyone in front of me because I was known for being the caboose. So if people got separated, I could pull up to the front and catch the people who didn't know our route, get them caught back up, and I don't see him. And I'm the last in line. And I'm like, where the hell has he gone now? Because I'm like, I look at Lauren, I go, every week. And I'm wondering where he's at. Next thing you know, my phone starts buzzing. And it's Jake. And I'm like, where the hell are you now? Do not tell me you got lost. We have been doing this for 2 summers. How did you get lost? And he goes, I didn't get lost. I had to pull over. The Death Wagon's on fire. He used to drive that Camaro, that red Camaro. It was a 90.
Catfish.
90.
Now it was older than the Catfish.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It
you're
was
right.
the
90
catfish body, but the 4-eyed
93,
one.
94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had the pointy front. It was like 93, 94. Had that crappy 6-cylinder in it.
Mhm.
And he's like, my car's on fire.
F-body, I think.
He's like, my car's on fire. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean your car's on fire? He's like, my car's on fire. He goes, my wire short, the power wire shorted. It's smoking right now. I'm like, holy shit. So now I got to disseminate this information to 7 other cars busting ass down Lakeshore. And oh man, I was gonna tell another story, but that one was illegal as fuck. We'll reminisce about that one after the thing goes off. But I just remember we pull up and everyone's just like, so, like, are we leaving it here and just pretending like we never saw it, or like what are we doing? And he's like, no, I think we're good. I'm just not gonna use my subs for the rest of the day. I'm just like, we're like, this only happens
When you're here.
to you, man. So I don't want to call you out, but this only happens when you're here, Jake. Love him to death.
That was one of the last times Tyler Mitchell cruised with us.
Yeah, he moved
Oh,
to Florida
yeah.
shortly
He
after that.
That's right. He did. Sure.
In that Mazda, what do you have, Mazda 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Silver one.
Yeah.
That was a fun ass car.
yeah, that was cool.
He drove the shit out of that thing.
Bro.
I remember that never mind, I won't go there. I won't call anybody out. That I don't know who all listens to your podcast, but I remember there was a particular individual who we brought with to a cruise, and like we were wild,
Almost
right?
killed us all.
But we had etiquette.
Yeah.
We had etiquette. Like we weren't like weaving through traffic
Weren't
if it
cutting
wasn't.
up.
Yeah, we weren't weaving through traffic completely unnecessarily. Like we wouldn't go too dangerous. Like if we were in a group, then towards the
No
end of the
white
night, we kind
lines.
of like we all kind of spread out, and then on the way home, that was like the way to go where we would really get into it. But on the way there, we were pretty chill, and we didn't like to like impede traffic. We never wanted to scare other people
Right.
because some of us had car payments. You know what I'm saying? Insurance don't like it when you modify and speed their car.
Some
Bank
of us
don't like that.
Some of us already had strikes too.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this individual in their car was just like they weren't just weaving in and out of traffic; they're weaving out of us. And we used to like kind of keep in a line. We were like a ballet, man. We used to.
Yeah.
That's how I used to feel. Like we used to just in a line. I used to feel like how that scene in Tokyo Drift when they're in the mountain and all those people and they're like no worries, no judgments. I beat that rich kid by like 3 lengths, like that scene. And it felt like that because I beat this rich kid by like 3 lengths. I gotta admit, it felt good. And we were going through the highway through traffic. We going like a line. It was like a dance almost. And this almost identified them in a way. I don't know if they even know who these are, but
I know who you're talking about.
that person was weaving through traffic, and I'm like, shorty. Okay, well that's okay. Wait, it was a girl. And she was whipping like crazy, and there were people who she came with, and we told Ross like, she used to roll with Ross, and we were like, listen, you and your homie in the 240 can cruise with us, but don't bring shorty around us no more. I said, like we had Kiyo with us. Kyle had Tyler in the back. Like we got children riding with us. Like that was a night where we were really trying to chill.
And when you spook Kyle, that's how you know you driving wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke Kyle.
Because he hanging out the sunroof, no seatbelt.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the story I was gonna tell, but I was like, ooh, that one was easy.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
have to go do this again.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
So just closing thoughts. Is any advice you'd give to anybody, just in general? Doesn't matter media, just a piece of advice to give to somebody that you think would help them.
Shout out to DJ Khaled. Keep going.
I like that one.
At the end of the day, just keep going.
JoJo, you got one, Threes?
Nah, I'm waiting for his.
That's why I let them
Just like
do
I'm
it.
curious.
Like,
You know he gonna have something profound.
advice for media. I would say
No,
just in,
it doesn't even have to be media. You can make it media if you want, but it can be anything. Media, life.
okay. So here, yeah, it's funny. I kind of have a similar thing. I have asked people like words of wisdom about anything. See, I kind of nudged you. Said I was gonna say something profound. I want to make it good. I got a 2-parter.
Go ahead.
One, do it because you love it. Because the phrase "do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life" is a lie. Because if you do what you love, you're basically gonna work nonstop. Like especially if you're trying, podcasting, photography, video, being a YouTuber, building cars.
Yep.
You got to do it because you love it. Because you're gonna be doing a lot of work for nothing. And and same with drifting is the same way.
You'll end up hating it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
people who are like FD or bust.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like you're gonna hate it. So and that's for anything you do in life, media, cars, job, anything. Do what you love.
Relationships.
Do it because you
all
love.
of it.
Do it because you love it. Because if we were in this for money and views, we'd have stopped years ago. Like our last few videos, none of them breached 100 views, and we're okay with that because we enjoyed just going back and watching them, and we enjoyed being trackside, being around cars. Because I work in an office now, I don't get to be around cars if I'm not at the track as much as I want to, as much as I want to. Especially when I don't get to modify my cars like I want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing something because you love it.
I like that.
Do it because you love it, and make sure you love it because you'll know.
Oh yeah.
You'll start to know if you don't love it.
Really damn fast. You got anything, Threes?
No.
I can't think of any adult shit to say.
Nope.
How can everybody get a hold of you, follow you, get in touch with you, learn more about you?
So you guys can follow us on Instagram. Our main Instagram is ig.createxconquer. You can follow me on Instagram at cxc.jojo.
You can follow me on Instagram at cxc.slim.
Also, our YouTube channel, which is Create and Conquer, but it's spelled Create X Conquer. And definitely like and subscribe. Keep up. Try to keep up because we have new stuff coming out. We have more film on the canvas features that we're gonna line up and have done, and we're also getting into more of like filmmaking and making short films.
Also, too, for the old heads, www.createxconquer.com.
Oh yeah, createxconquer.com. Check it out.
For
Watch
the
our
merch as well.
Watch our videos. Check out our portfolio. Tell us what you think. Check out our event schedule on there. We will be posting galleries for the photos we take. We usually give those out for free for personal social media use. take a look at the merch store. I know a lot of people have merch, and a lot of people are always plugging T-shirts and stuff. But Create and Conquer is our creative playground, so the shirts aren't just a money making tool, especially since we haven't made a lot of money yet.
It's some of the art as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's about the art and what we drew. Like all of our logos are I'd like everything you see on the shirt and the hats we're wearing, and it was on paper before it was digital.
Okay.
And, so there's a lot of graffiti influence. That's a story we can get into in another day too.
Yep.
Oh, the stories.
But
with
that's
that.
apparent in all of our imagery, though.
Yeah, and all of our imagery, you can see it. Like even some of our like the set we shoot at. A lot of like if I do a talking head, at my dad's house, at his house, we have like a wall that I completely destroyed with graffiti. Well, not destroyed. I made it look better. But yeah, so check out the merch. Tell us what you think. We have more
hooligan shit.
Yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming out too, merch wise. We've got a design that hopefully we'll have out by Midwest Fest. Another one I think we'll put out soon.
And then we got another design that's very familiar to anyone that's seen our Instagram. You're very familiar with the design. You just might not know it yet. That's also coming out.
Yeah.
It's kind of ominous, but
I like it.
The main
Y'all
thing would
see
be definitely like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
in due
though.
time. Yeah.
That's the main thing because that goes really far with the algorithm, helping people out.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I hope everybody enjoys this episode. I definitely learned a lot about tips and stuff with media. And
I thought he was gonna say he learned a lot about us. I'm like, I've known you for almost over 10 years. Dog.
definitely been over 10 years.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
awesome.
I've known you since we were in kindergarten
I
together.
knew this was gonna come.
We were in
out.
kindergarten together, dog.
They grew up from bottom up.
Yeah.
I remember used to because like
I just remember the story. He's doing the outro.
Oh yeah, my bad.
We'll catch that one next
Okay, I'll
time.
do it next time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Everybody have a good day and make sure to follow along. Catch you guys later.